Sunday night from the Staples Center, we will see who truly is better, more deserving, more driven, and overall truly wants to lead this revolution as AEW brings us Sunday night, its first preview of the calendar year, as this is Cinema Predicting AEW Revolution. And welcome everybody into the All Elite discussion. Hello, everybody. I know, right? This should be surprising to you, but welcome in once again to another edition that's sure to be anything but simply predicting. You know what this is, for I am the Super Man of the Super Brand, the voice of this program for all things professional wrestling. Damn it. And my name is Noel Foster, and thank you all for tuning in whether live or on demand. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. If you want to dictate the conversation or have your own predictions as well, share in the chat, super chat, or PayPal patch is as simple as that. Of course, the All Elite League officially kicks off with this pay-per-view this coming Sunday night, and the form is now live on my X and on the social medias, of course, and it will be in the comments section once the stream concludes. Shout out to 17 of you so far that has joined this year's league. Good luck to everybody. Without further ado, allow me to introduce you to my partner in crime who will be there live for the first time. It is the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, the CEO of Cast the 18 Studios. JJ, how are you this fine evening as we simply predict our first AEW preview of the calendar year?
I'm doing well, man. I am looking forward to going, looking forward to being there. My second AEW show, first AEW pay-per-view. And what better one to go to, as it's the pay-per-view that kicks off the year every year.
Right? Like, seriously, this was the first pay-per-view to put all wrestling on the map, but that took place, of course, in Chicago. It really defined what AEW is all about, and here you are now joining the Revolution for the first time live, and the Staples Center has played host to AEW Revolution on numerous occasions, and you're definitely getting more than your money's worth in viewership worth. Good grief.
Yeah, Madman Tony Khan had to do Madman Tony Khan things. 13 matches officially announced for this show, and there's still Collision.
That's
God
right.
only knows what may be announced on Collision, just like God only knows who may pop in to join things.
Well, we didn't say a name, but you did say a sound. So speaking of, he is also all elite, much like us, but he also has an open mindset. And I don't know if he's eating late tonight, but he's joining us for this occasion, so it must be something special. It's one half of the Canadian Connection, Nick Ferrantes. Nick, welcome to the feed. Oh, wait a minute, that's not Nick. Hello, Nick B. Leaf 12. Nick, hello, Nick. Who are you? How are you?
It's me. I thought
Okay.
I thought I'd be professional and put my at, since out here doing the people's work on Twitter. So
you know what? That's fair enough. And again, please follow this gentleman, and shout out again to Kai McKenna, and follow Pro Wrestling Symphony. Wonderful individual, and of course a avid hockey fan. And go check out the interview in the archives. We'll talk more about Puerto Media, her, and others later. But yes, Nick, it's good to hear from you, man. How are you? How you feeling about Revolution this Sunday?
I'm all right. I think the card is looking good. It looks like it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a packed house. So JJ, you're pretty lucky on what you're going to see this weekend.
What can I say? What can I say? Like, the only thing that I would change based off of what's been announced is I would move Boom and Doom versus the Infantry from the main card to the 0 hour.
Boom
That was announced tonight?
What?
Yeah. Big Boom AJ is going to be wrestling on Revolution.
Okay.
He gets a main card match.
Are you sure that's main card? Because I didn't see that. But okay, that's a thing. Well, guess what? For me, it doesn't matter, because as the proprietary booker of the All Elite League, I focus on main card, following Dynamite based on what I know. So we are going to go off what we truly know, and that is the 10 matches originally announced and the 1-0 other clarifications on a main card match, which is why we're going to discuss it. So without further ado, you already know how excited, how pumped, how wild and crazy I am for all things professional wrestling. Shout out to the AEW crew, City Betty community, panelists, and of course, professional wrestling fans, all the casual, hardcore. If you call yourself a sicko, that's entirely up to you. I call myself simple. Let's get right into it. So again, this Sunday marks off the kickoff of now the All Elite League, but the first AEW PVV, true pay-per-view of the calendar year 2026. Revolution. It will be coming to us from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Yes, I call it that, damn it. And it will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, exclusive on HBO Max here in the States. But of course, there's other markets internationally that you all can watch it all over the world. And for the first time ever, the 0 Hour will also be part of, course, the social media streams as well as HBO Max. And that starts 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And stay tuned for our coverage this Sunday. We'll be going live quarter to 7 as preparatory as usual, ahead of all the 0 Hour shenanigans and further commentary action to conclude. I have no idea who I'm coming in with, so stay tuned, folks. You'll be surprised as much as I, but I've freaking moderated 5 Yahoos, so who the hell knows what I'm dealing with? Jesus. That being said, let's go ahead and talk right into this. And starting off with a wave of positivity, and one of the biggest reasons you're going, let's talk about one of the most top stars, notorious workers in the AEW women's division, who smiles always. Willow Nightingale, who has called out the newly signed Lena Cross from Australia to challenge her for the TBS title. This will be on the 0 Hour, but this is not the only time you're going to see the Babe with the Power in action. And we are going to join this in conjunction with a match we'll talk about later. In the meantime, Willow Nightingale has been incredible fighting TBS champion, including most recently defending that title not only against Persephone, the new CML Women's World Champion, last night on Dynamite, but this past weekend in jolly old England at Wrestle Queen of 8, my show of the year so far, by the way. Shout out to Pro Wrestling Eve, Dan Reed, Ospreay, Emily. Incredible job. Thank you so much. She defended successfully against Nina Samuels. Right now, Willow Nightingale has been able to grace our television screens with nothing but smile and power alongside Hardy Cameron, of course, double champion, the inaugural AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions. So, do we believe that an upset could be at the Staples Center this Sunday? And could this be a cause and effect for things to come? Or this is the first big chance for Lena Cross to leave a lasting, powerful impression against the Babe with the Power Bomb? Since we only got 2 people here, and because we know most of these matches have quite a story or quite a unique dynamic to them, everyone will say their piece. But I'd be damn wrong if I didn't start with the biggest fan, not to mention the Super Bible Studios inaugural Babyface of the Year Award recipient as well, and nominator, JJ Williams. So JJ, your girl Willow, you get to see her twice, possibly. And she's defending both her titles because she has that much adrenaline and she wants to showcase herself that much as a champion. So what do you think about this TBS Championship match against Lena Cross?
Hey JJ, sorry, before you go, I just want to let you know, according to 411 Mania, that Big Boom AJ match and QT Marshall is actually on the pre-show.
All right, thank you. And now back to regular scheduled programming. JJ, go ahead. Your girl Willow Nightingale versus Lena Cross. What do you think about this first time one-on-one encounter? And what do you think about her so far as the TBS champion since beating Mercedes Moné for that title in a story that was 2.5 years developed later?
Well, I've got Willow here. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody.
No.
But I think that Lena is going to get some work in. I definitely think she's going to soften Willow up. Willow is losing the championship at Revolution.
Oh.
She's just not losing the TBS title.
Oh, really? All right. Fair enough.
And if you want, we can kind of double book this and do into the other one immediately after.
That's what I was thinking, brother.
Because Mega Bad were supposed to become champions.
I kind of had
but
them.
But Penelope Ford got injured mid-match.
Get well soon, Penelope.
So Lena Cross became All Elite. She's Megan's partner. Title opportunity. This is the title reign that Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne were going to have. So I totally see the Mega Towers, Mega Cross, whatever they're calling themselves. You know, BK, for those of you that remember those shoes back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, you say. Accurate.
Harley and Willow are losing the tag titles. And we're finally going to get the Megasis with some gold across her glorious waist.
Calling it right now. She's my worker of the year. She's going to be my freaking wrestler of the year at this point. You might have literally just given her kickoff. All right. Well, that being said, JJ has opened the ballot to one title retaining and one title changing. Let's go now to Nick and get his thoughts. And Nick, again, welcome to the beginning. Been a while, my friend. What do you think about JJ's outlook on the women's tag team championships? You've been very vocal about how they started this division, how they keep going with it. And the Bears of Rap, they've been very prolific inaugural champions for it. So is this the time to finally change the guard? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, they're doing a good job with building this division. I think it's time. You know, I don't think we need Willow to be a double champion anymore. So putting the titles on Mega Cross would be fabulous. I mean, with the 0 hour match, yeah, I don't think Lena's winning that match. I think it's there to soften up Willow
Hello.
for that later match. Yeah, with the reports that came out, shout out to all the people that do the scoops, right? They people reported that Penelope Ford's injury wasn't as bad as it was. It was a sprained ankle. Um, so I mean, if the Megasis, if Megan Bain and Cross, if we're doing both matches, yeah, I think Willow loses one championship this weekend, and I don't think it's a TBS title.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's go ahead and see what the people have to say so far. Again, shout out to the 17 that's entered the All Elite League, including at Limited 2. The other half of the Canadian Connection, our Canadian friend, Ash.
Ash.
Again, we all appreciate Ash. Just got did bad for wrestling. Alex the Key for Rob Pan, Emmanuel, Dwayne Atkinson, Jerry Slaughter. Oh, look at that. Some people on NoDQ actually don't have their blinders, sell only one brand. Walter, Matthew, Cash, Darren, Big Underscore Space, best name ever. Dash Marsh, Draco, good friends of mine. And it's really surprising how close this match is right now across the 17. It's almost 50-50. 52 to 47% in favor, though, of new champions. So more do have Mega Bay and Lita Cross. It is one of those things concerning the impression of Lita Cross and Megan Bayne right now as the tag team, which I thought was going to be the dynamic which she was introduced in Australia. And I figured that Penelope Ford was going to kind of like manage them. Now it really feels like that is the direction to go with them. And Megan Bayne, she's not only been one of those people there for Lita Cross as a rival and tag partner, she's also been there for multiple tag teams across multiple promotions. Let's remind you about Stardom, the All Josie promotion. She and her partner, of course, won the Gods of Stardom Tag League, and the former World Stardom champion Micah, of course, the Divine Goddesses. I do think it's time for Megan Bayne, though, to lead AEW as a champion. So actually, I do think that this is a great way, especially if the matches are back to back, because why would you not take advantage of this opportunity when Willow called out the challenge? We just literally saw somebody call themselves out to be challenged, and it bit them in the butt. I'm just saying. I think the same thing happens here. So I do think right now that we are going to have new champs. I also got Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. And I'm very curious to see what force you put against Zach to take the gold from.
I got something after JJ. So
go ahead, JJ,
I
and
was
then
gonna
you.
say two things here. Number one, Penelope Ford, I just feel bad for her because I feel like she's cursed at this point. She was Bane's partner when they were starting to build the division.
Yep.
Got injured going into the tournament, replaced by Marina Shafir.
Yep.
Tournament ends. Penelope Ford is back. Gets their title opportunity. Gets injured in the match.
Yep.
Like, she's barely been back and got injured again. So that's definitely something to be concerned about if I'm Tony Khan. Regardless of how severe the injury is, how much stock can I keep putting into her as a performer if she's going to keep getting injured, minor or major, irrelevant? Because an injury derails a plan.
Exactly.
So that's definitely something to be concerned about going forward with Penelope. The other thing is, what if ...
Dot.
And here's my crazy mind twirling.
as it does.
No manual card here. But
Okay.
what if they lose the titles because of Harley?
She is the younger inexperience, and we've also seen where Megan Bain and Harley Cameron have no love lost. But to that point,
I'm saying Harley turns.
no, 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 no.
I just want to throw this out there because when the interview backstage ended on Dynamite, she seemed like she was going along with it, but she wasn't 100% behind it with her little, well, I guess we're doing this. It's like, so
Interesting.
wait a minute, you're going to put yourself in a match on the 0 hour, run the risk of getting injured or exhausted before we put our tag titles on the line on the main show. I don't think that sits well with Harley.
I mean,
So I'm just throwing it out there. If it happens, you heard it from this guy.
this guy is
This
crazy.
guy is trying to tell me that no, can't happen.
I'm just saying it's a
Water
very
is wet, the sky is blue, grass is green. Unless it's dead, then it's brown.
yes,
But
and yes,
and
I get
Harley
it.
Cameron won't turn heel.
And you can still get an STD while
But-
wearing a condom during sex. I get it. There's a 1% chance it could happen.
But I'm just saying, like, I think it would be interesting. I would like to see what a heel Harley Cameron would be like.
As if she's not unhinged enough when I saw her and Amira Blair have a Broadway musical match ending with George Michael. By the way, West Pina made such an incredible show. Go watch it, folks. But I am going to put that out there, though, because there is a level of inexperience on this stage and also a level of inexperience in this business where this match can still go one of two ways. Again, Lena Cross, this is her third official match since being All Elite, her second tag, and she just had a singles match against Mina Shirakawa on Collision. Again, folks, there will be no Collision Sports as I'm hashtag spoiler free, but I remember the card. And also, your predictions are not final until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday evening. And note the predictions on this panel are not final. But I do understand what you mean. But again, like you said, the original plan, it felt like after the inaugural champs, was eventually Megan Bain and Penelope Ford, because they were one of the most established tag teams since Megan Bain came back to AEW. With Penelope Ford out, though, in this statuesque duo, where right now Lena Cross, the best direction for her is being alongside Megan Bain versus being solo, because no one truly knows what she is outside me from down in Australia. It does make sense for her because that's how a tag team works. You build each other up off each other's strengths. And I'm not just talking about in ring either, but you literally got two of the most biggest powerhouses right now in AEW. Damn, AEW got some meat in their division on both the men and women's side. But I do see what you mean.
And then we can move towards Dynasty and possibly Double or Nothing with Harley versus Willow for the TBS title as our program.
It could happen, or Willow could also be like, you're my friend. How about we just do it one-on-one, and then maybe you get your thing. I just don't see Harley turning at the pay-per-view. I do sense some turns happening at the pay-per-view, and I don't just mean the match decisions, but that's one I don't really see for the time being. Nick, you had something you want to add real quick before we move on to our next match, bro?
Well, I had the same idea as JJ, and I was thinking that.
Since when did you become Walter? Go ahead.
But I want to.
Someone has to be on the same frequency as me. Charles isn't here. Walter's not here.
But I want to expand on it, and I want to. We have to get into the habit, and I think with AEW now, their wrestling is great, and I know they're not a company that is big on storytelling, but I think after 6 years we need some week to week grab. And now I know Noah's rolling his eyes because it's all about the graphs, and I get it, but there has to be some level of some sort of storytelling. So I mean, while I agree with what you're saying, JJ, I would maybe plant those seeds. So what I would maybe do is, this is a great opportunity to, with Penelope's Ford's injury, this is a good time that you can institute the Freebird rule with these tag team titles. Yeah, Megan Bain and Lena Cross win it, but maybe Megan Bayne is just a placeholder for Penelope when she gets back. And when Penelope gets back, she can take Megan's championship, right? And then you can have the tag team of Megan Bayne and Lena Cross and Penelope Ford. And then you can have, because I feel like Megan needs singles gold. I don't think tag team gold would really help her. I think she should win the title, be a placeholder for Penelope, have them do the Freebird rule, and then you can have Megan take the title off of Willow at Dynasty, which then enforces that heel turn of Harley Cameron, and then you can have a Willow versus Harley match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, with Penelope Ford right now, the injury not being as extreme as we thought, and also that one picture from Down Under in the Grand Slam, all three of them are holding the gold, but Megan Bayne was holding the TBS championship. I also do agree, based on Megan Bayne's tenure, she deserves to hold a singles title. Let's not forget, her first derailing, one of her only derailings last year was against Thomas Toni Storm due to her biggest package at Dynasty. That was one of her only pinfall losses last year. So I do get what Nick means. And I also do think Megan Bayne has all the potential, along with a lot of this roster, to be a singles champion in AEW.
Think about it. You have Penelope Ford screw Harley and Willow out of the championship, and then there's your seeds of, well, Harley can turn around and be like, if it wasn't for you having to fight 2 matches that night, we might have won that tag team title match. You screwed me. Right?
You want to add something real quick, JJ, before we move on?
I just feel like Megan is beneath the TBS title.
Fair. But she does.
I don't feel that a woman of her stature needs to be the mid-card champion. It should be the world champion or nothing. I will settle for the tag titles right now because Thekla just got that championship, and we need to let her cook with it a little bit.
Talk more about that later.
But I feel like with someone like Megan Bayne, it's the world championship or nothing. She's beneath the TBS, or the TBS title is beneath her.
It's again, and I appreciate that outlook, but I also look at it like this: TV title, mid card title. I consider 2 different classes because, as far as I'm concerned, you're a TV champion. You represent the television product. You're going to be prolific. We saw how prolific both the TNT and TBS championships were just this past Wednesday. And at the end of the day, holding a singles championship is still above a tag team championship in either of those classes. And I also think it gives Megan Bayne more of a presence. And to your point, JJ, Megan Bayne has been a commanding presence with all the tools to be a world champion. Constant worker, doesn't say no, always trying to grow. Megan Bayne is a future AEW Women's World Champion. I will not deny you that. All right, let's go ahead and move. I know we can keep fantasy booking and talking about these 5 women all night, but guys, 10 matches. You just talked about 1. Let's go.
We talked about 2.
But technically, yes, we talked about 2, but 1, of course, was more of a cause and effect because 1, we love Willow, and 2, TBS title matters on Willow. 3, Lena Cross matters in AEW, and it's her first singles impression for gold. And this is definitely going to affect the outlook of this match and positive decision, where we already might be eating crow. But nonetheless, fun conversation. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn things up to the notch of utter madness, or should I say violence? Because, like I said, how do you balance championships, these gimmicks, and then this that should be on television? Why the fuck are we already getting the... Why am I... okay, hold on, time out. Why am I getting vibes that Roderick Strong is going to pull a freaking NXT takeover decisive turn here? Just saying, for those that have talked to the black people like me and saw what happened with him and Pete Dunne. I'm just saying. That being said, Nick, you're going to kick things off with this, and we'll probably keep it brief, even though it's Tornado Trios, and we know these 6 crazy fuckers are not going to keep it brief. It's Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Darby Allin versus the Dogs, newly signed David Finley, Clark Connors, and Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd, who recently came out and said, fuck NJPW. You want to talk about the definition of hypocritical? Go look at him last year, folks. That being said, Darby Allin, Gabe Kidd, this is a never-ending story almost, it feels like, until he's pushing up daisies. And unless Darby Allin gets past Gabe Kidd, you're not going to see him face MJF for the World Championship. Again, foreshadowing, you tell me. Nonetheless, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, they're not in the conglomeration. But Roderick Strong did come last night and save Orange Cassidy's ass from a Dogs beatdown. The Dogs who just came into AEW, not a Baja Man reference, JJ, non-copyright. We've already seen how effective this trio is and also how violent they can be. So the bottom line here, Nick, I give to you. Do you give the Dogs, the actual trio, who could be a force to be reckoned with in the trios division down the line, a win in their first pay-per-view showcase? Or do we somehow give the, let's call it what it is, the Violent Misfits and whatever, the win somehow over this trio of chaos? What do you got to say, Nick?
I recently, actually, just today, I watched that interview with Sean Ross Sapp and the Dogs. You like, I'm here for the Dogs. Like, yo, build the trios division around them. Like, give me like, dude, it was so good. I have the Dogs winning this. I feel like give them the trios titles and have them go. Like, the charisma that David shows, that Gabe has shown, like, and even Connors, like, it's just a different dynamic than what we have right now. So I have the Dogs winning this, and if I'm Tony, that's who I'm building my trios division around. Let them run through teams. Like, let them run through teams. Not even a question. I got the Dogs.
All right, that's the Dogs for real. Well, JJ, he's in the majority. 80% are with those Dogs. What do you think about the Dogs? Do you believe the Dogs were let in to run roughshod as future trios champions? Or does somehow Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Darby Allin put the Dogs behind them? Folks, do not take a drink every time you hear the word Dogs, okay? You'll live. And shout out to Folia's dog. I guess that's a different dog for real. I'll answer your question maybe after this match, but also if there's time. Because again, if you want to dictate the conversation, with all due respect, super chat or pay by the passions, as simple as that. JJ, what you got to say regarding this trios match?
Well, first things first, I was incredibly disappointed that they did not come out to Who Let the Dogs Out.
You, of course, with the pop culture.
Especially with Gabe Kidd coming out like a dog. And Finley coming out like a man holding a leash. I'm just saying, like, it would work.
With Shillelagh, but nonetheless, I do understand the reference, and he's also not wrong, as much as I hate to admit it. Continue.
Okay, so that's number one.
Damn it.
How are you going to hate on the Baja Men?
I'm not hating.
They may be a one-hit wonder, but god damn it, that was the song when the Long Beach Ice Dogs took the ice to play hockey. Mm-hmm. Was Who Let the Dogs Out.
Fair enough.
And it was so popular that Disney did it and turned it into Who Woke Snow White Up. Okay? Wow. It was actually the Baja Men redoing the song with those lyrics.
I can't believe Wear Out didn't do it first.
But I digress.
Yeah, seriously.
When it comes to this, it's got to go to the Dogs. It just has to. This very easily could become the most dominant trio of the division.
Ja.
And if you start with them losing to a guy who wants to be a professional wrestler but doesn't care to be the world champion.
Whatever.
A guy who hails from wherever and weighs in at whatever. And a guy who refuses to be part of the team that he's associated with. You've already killed them before they can begin.
Yeah. And Roderick Strong, who just came back, this screams black and gold NXT on numerous occasions. At one point, he was a one-man army taking on Eric Young's group, Sanity. And also, eventually, during the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Cup, he became undisputed. Now, I don't think Roderick Strong is a dog, but if he's not part of the agglomeration, where does he belong? Again, solid black shirt, but he did save Orange Cassidy's ass. Is it just one of those suspensions of disbelief? Did Kyle O'Reilly get in his ears, who's still out indefinitely? Roderick Strong's the biggest X factor here. And with that being said, I also think he's the fall guy. I also have those dogs for real. You can't have the effective trio, the established trio. There's the word I was looking for. Finley, Gabe Kidd, and Connors losing their first pay-per-view trios match in AEW. You can't. Especially if they're going to be literally part of this trios division. I haven't seen a trio this dynamic and effective since the House of Black. So it's got to be the dogs just to get them to that next echelon or a belief that they can be trios champions. I got the dogs for real. And I also
Noah, is there anybody in New Japan from Bullet Club that is a free agent?
I was going to say Drew Maloney, but nope, he decided that he stayed. So I would say no, there isn't.
Okay.
Not from New Japan. However, there is an AEW contracted Bullet Club member who's been out on injury for a while, and we still don't know when he may be returning.
And I'm waiting for that Civil War to JJ's point.
I think that's the Bang Bang Gang, because we're getting them on Collision, I think.
Yes, they're in trios action.
From the interview that I saw with the three of them on Fightful, I don't see Jay White joining them. I would see Jay White more get the Bang Bang Gang together and fight them.
Yeah, make it more serious and turn into a civil war, because let's not forget, JJ, you may not know this because, of course, you may not be that in-depth in New Japan. A little history for you. David Finley took the Bullet Club from Suspect Jay White, hit him in the back of the head with a shillelagh when Jay White was sent out the door of New Japan Pro Wrestling before he became All Elite. So there's that launch of bad blood there. David Finley took Bullet Club from Jay White.
And that's all fine and good. But there's a saying that is as old as time. Keep your friends close.
And your enemies closer.
So Jay White could return and make it look like he's aligning with the dogs. Just to drop them on their asses because of what Finley did to Jay White.
Yeah.
And that's how you jumpstart the Bullet Club Gold. I still have a hard time calling them Bang Bang Gang. It just sounds so lame. You want pop culture references? I automatically go to bang 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 on the door, baby.
Oh my gosh. Well, nonetheless, that's our dogs for real as far as this match goes. And whether or not you're thinking of us or Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, or freaking David Finley, you be the judge. Well, there's three people here. All right, moving on. Well, I know that.
Come on, Ash. You know you want to join us.
She has the link. She has producer rights. She knows where we are.
I sent her the link too.
Of course you did. She says she's going to be in the chat. Again, please, don't pressure our Canadian friend, all right? Everyone, don't pressure Ash, okay? I'm just saying. That being said.
We're all a little bit batty.
Well, I think we're all a little bit batty, but we're also at times a little bit tranquilo. And there's one person that demonstrates tranquilo more than anyone else in wrestling. It's La Sombra himself in this Lucha Libre first time ever dream matchup. Because for the first time ever, the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito is going one-on-one with Andrade El Idolo. Bandito, who looked up to La Sombra, former IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Bandito, who was made People's Wrestler of the Year last year. Of course, the notorious Ring of Honor World Champion, surviving Survival of the Fittest, Konosuke Takeshita, Hechicero, Mascara Dorada. The list goes on and on and on. And of course, right now, Bandito was looking for a fight as much as Brody King. And Andrade was the first one to step up. Of course, Andrade also has his eyes on gold. After challenging Yota Tsuji at the New Beginning for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship for a first number one counter, coming out short, and currently a champion right now on 3 different promotions. Not to mention, you saw this man wrestle live at House of Glory, and I would not rule him out in trying to go after that title. Not to mention, he's already in MJF's bad graces. There are so many what ifs right now with the AEW Championship. I fucking love it. This could potentially lead to maybe a future of our World Championship match if Andrade beats the most wanted. So let's go around the horn and see what y'all think about this. And again, because we only got 2 people, we're just going to keep going up around the order. So, JD, I'll start with you. You know what Andrade is capable of, but we also know what Bandito is capable of, whether he's a one-armed bandit or he's got 2 arms in an ass-kicking contest. But we also have seen this resurgence of Andrade's career since leaving his former employer. Our Canadian friend Ash apparently wanted to kick things off here, and I love that. And I also kind of agree because Bandito is fucking amazing. But JD, what do you think about this?
I feel like you don't want to stifle Bandito. You know, he had a tremendous year last year, to your point. You know, the Brodito tag team ended the year strong and started this year off strong.
Oh.
But I don't think you can deny La Sombra right now. I got Andrade. I think he has to take this dub here.
Wow. All right. Well, now you can see Andrade twice, too.
I feel like if you kill him here, again, just kind of like what I said with the dogs, you know, rinse and repeat, you're kind of cutting his nuts off before he can really get started here. I'm not saying he has to defeat MJF or Heyman, whoever walks out of here with the belt for the title, but Bandito already had his shot.
That's fair.
Andrade needs one.
Well, to your point, Andrade also lost his shot out for the AEW World Championship after losing to Heyman and Page down in Australia, but he's already got wins this year over Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega, 2 former AEW World Champions. So I wouldn't rule him out beating Bandito by hook or by crook in a first number 1 matchup. There's no previous history with these two under any circumstance whatsoever. But again, Bandito right now, he's the guy to go after. He's the guy to beat, and he's incredibly hard to beat. So in that type of sense, but also this being just a sudden exhibition, not for the gold. And I don't know what the first Ring of Honor pay-per-view is going to be. Ash, I get what you said when it comes to long-live Banditoism, but Bandito needs challengers. How does a challenger earn the opportunity? You beat the champion. I got Andrade as well. I think Andrade does need a big win. Not to mention, it's his first major singles pay-per-view match since returning to AEW. We're talking about Revolution a lot here being the kickoff to the calendar year. It's more than that. It's really the kickoff to what has been a resurgence for honestly a whole lot of the entire AEW product. They've been going nonstop this year when it comes to pushing that roster and pushing what this product's about. And I love that. They haven't looked this strong, and according to MJF's words with Denise Salcedo, since All In Wembley 2023 outside the shenanigan. So it's just one of those things right now that I think we look at the direction of AEW, you got to see who to put your eyes towards. And right now with the Don Callis family having all sorts of gold and all sorts of super athletes, let's call it what it is, including Andrade Idolo, Andrade needs something to push him forward. So I got Andrade like you. That being said, Ash got Bandito, 2 El Idolos, and the majority are actually going with Andrade right now. The 19 that put in predictions, 69, y'all did it on purpose. 69% with Andrade, while the remaining 31 with Bandito. Stop it, you stop it.
69, dude. Stop.
Bloody hell. And thank you, Xavier G, for the super chat. I will read it here after this match. Nick, your thoughts on this? Andrade and Bandito, first number 1 encounter. Bandito's been Ring of Honor World Champion now almost for a year after being in Jericho for it last year at Dynasty. What do you think?
This is why it's nice to have just 3 people, because I'm going to say something a little bit controversial. I'm very disappointed in this match.
Really?
This is one of those times.
I'm going to interrupt you right here. If you're that disappointed, you need to come on camera so we can see your facial expressions.
I can't right now. But the reason why I'm saying I am disappointed is because before the new year, it was actually us 3 with one other person. I forgot who it was. We sat and we were doing a watch along for Dynamite, and I asked you guys a question. I said, "What in 2026? What is the one thing you want to see from AEW?" I remember that you Noah, you said you wanted to see more competition. JJ said that you wanted to see just more things make sense. I said I want Tony to have some fun. Have some fun this year with your booking.
This isn't fun? This exhibition isn't fun?
But the reason why I say that is because you have been teasing, and shout out, if you guys are watching this, we all do watch alongs for independent wrestling, so watch our watch alongs. And we know that at the recent Hog show, they have been teasing Andrade and MJF for the World Championship. This
Correct.
is where I said, I'd like to see Tony have some fun with this, because you could have had this match. And I mean, he's doing things with Ring of Honor, as we notice. He's got Ring of Honor. And we'll talk about this on Shenanigans with the My AEW. He's got Ring of Honor in a studio series session now. So it seems
I
like
love it.
it seems like he's doing things with Ring of Honor. This would have been your perfect time to have this match be for the World Championship. You have Andrade win that World Championship, and then take a page out of Austin Aries' book. Make the ROH World Championship like an option C. You vacate
Mm.
you vacate that ROH World Championship for a future AEW World Championship match. And that's because you've been teasing that Andrade wants the AEW World Championship.
He wants
Well,
gold.
exactly. Well, no, he wants the World Championship. He said
Yeah.
it. He has said that much. So have fun with this. You should have had this for the title, and then again that's not a far fetched thing for Don Callis to do. You can have Andrade come out and say, "Listen," or Don say, "I'm invoking another option. I'm gonna vacate the ROH World Championship, and I want a World Championship match." That's how you get that World Championship match for Andrade. And then the Ring of Honor World title, you can start again. He's doing things with Ring of Honor. Have Ring of Honor start being your developmental system. Have somebody. I think Bandito with that championship is not doing anything anymore. I think Bandito has grown the ROH World Championship. Have Bandito go after Okada again. There's too many titles on AEW that Bandito can go for. So have Andrade win that championship, vacate that championship. That way you get Andrade versus MJF or Andrade versus Hangman for the world title. And you have ROH be led and be their developmental system, because you are signing so many new up and coming talent. Have them fight for the ROH world title. Like, that was the key for when guys back in the day, they cut their teeth in ROH. Have them do that same thing. Have that ROH title be a beacon that you are the future. So yeah, I have Andrade winning this match. Um, this is a match that I'm just like, fuck, Tony. Like, give me a little bit more into it.
He
'Cause
wants more to fight.
we're just gonna have this match, and then what?
Well, then you gotta wait and see what happens. Like I said, again, it may not be for the title, but I would consider if Andrade won, he would have to be in a conversation, if not Bandito's pride, to challenge for the world championship. But it sounds like what basically evolved to NXT is, shout out to Kendall Gregg, congratulations becoming a full-time member of the NXT roster as she vacated the Evolve Women's Championship. You want to see this be a stepping stone or a catapult to the AEW scene, where ROH is basically your elevation. You remember that AEW Dark Show elevation, folks? I'm just saying. So I do understand what Nick wants. He wants to see progression more than anything. And he wants to see that maybe become a dynamic with Ring of Honor to AEW, where sometimes both universes, if their champions don't collide with AEW champions, the talent does, and more often than not, Ring of Honor talent gets on the bumper side of AEW talent. So I do see what Nick said in that
Yeah.
dissertation of organizing a tier system, almost where you go from Ring of Honor to AEW. It's
And you're just
for fun.
and you're just handing, like, I mean, this all goes out the window if Bandito wins, but I mean,
Not
Andrade's on a
necessarily. It's all
well,
about,
no,
again, what
because
you do afterwards. And again,
yeah,
you don't dictate that.
but Andrade's on such of a roll, like, you don't want to stifle his momentum. So I mean, giving him the win is great, but then you're just giving Bandito an unnecessary loss, no matter if it's a fuck finish or not. You're just giving him an unnecessary loss that he doesn't need.
But
So
okay. Well, you got both me and JJ thinking. I think JJ has something to say before we talk about the little super chat here, because it's a nice dynamic. JJ, what do you think about all that food for thought? You obviously know what Option C is, holding the first ever Division Championship, what Austin Aries, of course, did with that, what multiple people have done with that, and what Leon Slater could still possibly do with that for those that follow TNA Impact, as I am still TNA faithful, even though it's questionable what TNA is becoming, but that's a different converation another day. What do you think about what Nick kind of brought forward when it comes to ROH2 AEW through the Ring of Our World Championship? Go ahead and lend your thoughts.
I honestly didn't have anything to add to that. I think Nick makes some great points, though.
There you go.
I'll just simply leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that being said, AEW sometimes reminds us what, of course, the next show is and give us a light break. Here's a light break for everybody to lend food for thought too. So again, shout out to Folia's Dog for the actual PayPal super chat. Good evening. He says, I was wondering how you feel about spot calling. What my problem I've been having with it. I love watching wrestling all my life, but recently my brain only seems to notice the wrestlers putting their heads together and talking about their spots. And I realized I also botched when I did the wrong start comment. But thank you for that. It's one of those things where at the end of the day, if you're a wrestling fan like us, you know a little bit about the nuances that go inside the squared circle. If it's not super noticeable or choreographed, it doesn't bug me. Sometimes things on impulse or instinct or pure timing, that's what drives me the most in this business. And it's those furious offensive like sequences like Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey and how counterintuitive Speedball was to Kyle Fletcher and Kyle with the explosive moments of offense that he has. As long as I feel like I'm not watching someone in slow motion that was like, I knew this was going to happen, or they literally are speaking to each other while doing it, like I'm seeing their lips move, muttering words, it doesn't necessarily bug me. I think for me, and I'm not even a referee, and the referee knows all of this, well, not all of it, but most of it more than us, and God bless referees who have the most stress in this business. For me, it's just one of those things that I don't notice that particularly, even if I think it's really happening more than I think it actually wants to, because I'm just enjoying the product and I'm enjoying what I'm getting between the competitors in the ring. So honestly, as long as it doesn't underwhelm what the match is supposed to be or what the story is supposed to be told, I'm okay with it. Predictability in wrestling isn't a bad thing. And a little bit of choreography is not a bad thing either, as long as you're not overdoing it with a talent or with your matches. And some talent can learn a thing or two about that across multiple companies. JJ, what do you want to add towards this outlook of choreographed wrestling in a way?
I don't have an issue to spot calling. I feel like fans only have an issue when it's obvious. Honestly, I would rather more matches be called spot for spot as opposed to rehearsing and planning stuff out backstage. That's how you know a true professional. We'll call it in the ring.
Yep.
You know, again, I understand if it's way too obvious, but at the same time, if you're captivated by the match, you're not noticing it anyways.
Exactly.
As long as you're engaged. If you're analyzing the match because you're hate watching the program, then you're going to notice it.
Or if you're looking too deep into it to the point that you forget why you become a fan of this in the first place, and if it's becoming too obvious to you, is your fandom dwindling? There's a fine line.
Or if you're John Cena and you just call the spots way too loudly that the microphones pick it up.
Well, I didn't want to say his name. I was trying to be neutral, JJ, but thanks.
Well, I mean, it's not like there's repercussions for saying John Cena's name like there are if you say Joe Hendry's name.
You son of a fucking bitch! We're not even talking about WWE.
His name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Damn it. He always has to get it in there. But nonetheless, that's pretty much my take. Don't look too deep into it, and as long as it's not being overdone by the same person or the same company or in most of the matches you watch, I wouldn't worry about it. Because as long as you're invested in what's happening on the screen, That's all that matters versus what you're actually deciphering. But thank you so much, Folius Dog. Greatly appreciate the side tangent conversation. Nick, do you want to add 2 cents, Canadian, towards this before we move back into our regular action?
No, you know what? I don't mind it at all because I think, like JJ said, I kind of think that they should be doing that because then you know what? When you're critiquing a match, you can go back and be like, for us when we do watch alongs too, or even just if you're critiquing it on your own end, if you see a spot that you don't like, it's a great way to articulate, you know what, I didn't like this spot in the match, or I didn't like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a great tool. I wouldn't be opposed. Like, it happens. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Well, that's fair, especially for, those that are like inexperienced versus the more experienced. But it is also one of those things where, again, like JJ says, and I feel AEW more particularly does this, a lot of stuff you might literally just call in the ring in the moment, and then there's the moment you improv, like headbutting with a nightingale when you were trying to wrap a chain around her, as Chris Statlander talked about on the Chris Family podcast. Go listen to that, folks. Chris Family, Denise Salcedo, my favorite people to listen to podcasts for. But that being said, again, fully bottom line, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing for a reason. It's just a matter on how it's used and how much you interpret it as a fan too. But for us, it doesn't really bother us that much. And I still love all things wrestling, even in the companies where I think it's way too much choreographed with certain individuals. All right. With that being said, we move on into our specialized program. Again, thank you so much to Folius Dog for that PayPal. Again, folks, you want to continue to dictate conversations, Super Chat, PayPal the passions. They truly are as simple as that. Note to self, start putting in the PayPals, particularly in the descriptions, especially for JJ. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and move back into our regularly scheduled.
Please do. I'm going to Vegas in a month. I need monies.
You heard it here, folks. PayPal this man. It's as simple as that.
Or Super Chat, because I'll get that money like just before I leave Vegas.
But
so
yeah, but
money
again,
for the ride home.
If for some reason you don't have the Super Chat button on your phone, PayPal, the app, or the website's the way to go.
That's because you guys are on somebody's channel other than the Casa D18 Studios channel. That's the only one that's monetized to receive Super Chats.
But again, we, of course, are a conglomeration here. We are a family, as we, of course, are for all things professional wrestling, damn it. Speaking of family, has the Don Callis family evolved and a force be recommended for what? Let's see what happens with the Trios Championships, because believe it or not, folks, there are Trios Champions in AEW, and you're looking at them. That is not Photoshop. Ranmaka, Kazuchika Okada, Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher. Who might I add? Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, thank you. Yes, both are 2 belts. Kyle Fletcher is still the TNT champion, and Proto Okada, Kazuchika Okada is still the AEW International champion, and Dunkzilla, Mark Davis, who has overcome injury and probably a broken right hand. After beating Jet Set Rodeo, that's still hard for me to say. We have Jet Speed going into the rematch, but with him and Adam Page on their business, they have enlisted help of the CMLL World Middleweight Champion, Historic Middleweight Champion, Mystico. And yes, folks, that is the former Sin Cara, and also one of the most notorious luchadors right now in CMLL since return back home. Okay, straight up, there's not much to the tape here, folks. It's a freaking rematch. This is one of those things where I'm like, why is this not on its own like Dynamite? But it is what it is. But I also think about, again, storytelling. And right now, if there's a story in AEW, it is, what is the outlook of everybody in the Don Callis family? Is everyone fine? Is everything fine? All this fine? I don't know if everything's fine. Especially as we saw Wednesday night with another match we're going to talk about later that has one of the biggest stories and probably the biggest competitive beef with each other going into it to prove who truly is the best. Nonetheless, let's talk about the Trios Championships and see if this leads to any cause and effect. So that being said, I believe this time it is Nick first. So Nick, what's your thoughts on the AEW Trios Championship besides the Dogs eventually going after them and the Don Callis family currently holding them? What do you think about this match?
Well, the Dogs are heel faction. They're going to need a babyface to take those titles off of them. I got Jet Speed and Mystico winning the titles.
What?
Making Mystico the first outsider to win an AEW World Championship. I think the bigger story here, from what we saw on Collision, the bigger story, especially when we get also into another match that we're going to talk about soon,
Right.
there's a bigger story to be told. And I don't think the trios titles are necessary for it. So I have Jet Speed and Mystico winning the trios titles, making maybe, and this is a little bit of a tinfoil hat, I think after this weekend, Mystico will be the next person to have a AEW CMLL dual contract.
Huh. That's actually a fair take on it, considering so many people are dual contract right now this year alone. Persephone, Hechicero, Masca, Dorada. You got a fair point. All right. Wow, I did not expect you to say new champions, but now you mention it, it would kind of be interesting to see the downfall of the Don Callis family immediately. And you do need more face dynamics as the champions of this trios division, especially your dogs are going to be the inevitable next one. So was this just a sudden like occurrence that we've seen before in these type of championship situations? And Ash, to answer your question real quick before I give it to JJ, he is the current CML World Light Heavyweight Champion. Not to mention, Mystico is a trios champion in CMLL still with freaking El Sky team, who's faced the Don Callis family before for the CMLL World Trios Championships, let's forget, with Mascal, Dorada, and Neon. I believe that was the Full Gear 0 hour that happened. It was either that or Wrestle Dream. No, it's one of those two shows. But again, someone can fact check me on that. Again, I only can keep up with so much. But all right, Nick, interesting thoughts. Well, that being said, JJ, with that in mind, though, he is in the minority. 21% went with Mystico and Jet Speed, while 79% went with the Don Callis family. But with that idea of Mystico becoming dual contracted, the Dons becoming future trios champions, you already got members of the Don Callis family with singles gold, and you just want to maybe get the title off Hangman. Do you think this is an appropriate way to do a transition with the trios titles with this unique dynamic and, at its point, this first time ever? What do you think?
I see the Don Callis family retaining.
Okay.
I feel that this match is here for 3 very simple reasons. Number 1, to get Fletcher on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, to get Okada on the show.
Brought Okada.
And number 3, to utilize Mystico because LA's got a huge Lucha Libre contingent. As far as the dual contract, I might be wrong on this. I'm willing to admit at a later date if I'm wrong on this. But I believe it would not be a dual contract. I believe it would be a tri-contract.
MLW?
I believe MLW has contracted wrestlers as well, and Mystico, I believe, is contracted there.
He is. You're right, because I remember that's with a few star
events. So he would be the first tri-contracted superstar.
That's a good point.
CMLL, AEW, and MLW contract.
He'd be at Kanosuke, who's DDT, New Japan, and AEW as of right now. That's also a fair point. I didn't think about MLW, but there's so many different interpromotional dynamics with this right now that my brain's kind of thinking. But it's just one of those things right now with the bigger narrative we're going to talk about with the member of the Don Callis family, being perfectly honest. I kind of see them retaining as well. I do think the Dons eventually are going to be in the hunt for these titles, but we've also seen much in this business. Doesn't matter what you hear or face, you get a response. You hear the noise because you're respected for what you do in that ring as a wrestler, or you somehow connected with the audience in some sort of way that they gander you. So regardless, I can see Dons versus Don Callis family being a barn burner of all-out warfare in AEW. It's not the first time that Don Callis got a shiner by a heel faction either. Hello, John Moxley. So
I also could see this ending up as either a triple threat or a fatal 4-way trios match.
Which has not ever happened for the trios championships yet. It's always been traditional trios, 2 teams basically, one-on-one. We've never had that type of dynamic.
Because you've got the Elite, and you've got the Death Riders.
And
I could see the Death Riders being the ones to take the titles off the Callis family. And then you've got the Death Riders who've kind of been tweeners lately.
Sort of.
Because Moxley is definitely getting a babyface reaction.
Damn right he is.
He may be the only one. I think even Marina's kind of been getting a smattering of a face reaction.
It's a hell of a lieutenant, I'll tell you that much.
You know? And I think I would enjoy that story because Gabe Kidd was kind of the hired gun.
Mercenary.
So to see the Dogs versus the Death Riders,
oh yeah,
after Gabe Kidd was doing the dirty work for the Death Riders and now he's got his boys with him.
His dogs.
I think that would be the better way to get the Dogs the titles.
I like that.
Because if you take the belt off the Callis family, hypothetically speaking, to Nick's point,
yeah,
if you take the belt off of them, and then Takeshita wins his title later,
cause and effect.
You've got Takeshita throwing it back in Okada's face now that Okada has no gold.
He does have the AEW National Championship.
He does have gold.
True. So that whole point then gets thrown out.
Whoop. Yeah. And
Apologies,
he just...
because
it's okay.
Again,
a lot of titles.
And don't botch me because this
No.
is the first Dynamite that I watched in God knows how long. I actually made a point to run it back when I got home last night.
I got you, JJ. I'm all lead. I watch Dynamite every week. I got you, bro.
I know, but you're also notorious for botching when somebody says something like that. It's like
not necessarily.
Give me a little bit of a break here. Thank you
look,
for not
the
doing
botch.
so.
Look, I'm not Matthew from Botchamania, all right? I'm not that crazy. And number two, I don't botch you on everything. It has to be particular and it has to be in the right circumstance of knowledge versus flub. In your case, it's basically the fact that you're aware, but you haven't watched. And I don't hold that against you. The bottom line, though, is this: as far as the trios titles, I don't see them changing hands yet. Because, again, Kyle and Okada got singles going. I think they're going to roll with this dynamic. You do bring up a point about the Death Riders, Don Kyle's family long-term history, and that could lead into something. And then maybe the Dogs could challenge them, because I think the Dogs will be waiting for a little long. And the last time we had multi-team warfare for the Trios Championships, folks, was a damn London ladder match at AEW All In, where the Death Riders won them in the first place, and they were the wild card. So, again.
Trios ladder matches.
Yes.
Reminds me of 2023 at the Forum.
Oh, the fabulous Forum.
Which, I was there for that. Match 7.
You just raised my ire even more. You lucky, damn it, lucky. That being said, all right, and Ash here also would have thought the Dogs would be built up just a smidge before going after the trios. Man, this is hard. I had the College family retaining, but wouldn't shock me as new champions. Again, shout out to Emmanuel Dominguez. Go follow him, follow him at the games and movies.
I think it would be a huge disservice to Mark Davis to take the belt off of him.
It's his first piece of gold. Well, no, I take that back.
You could get the TNT title off of Fletcher, and then you still have Fletcher and Davis as part of the Trios tag titles.
It's a weird match.
Mark Davis really needs this gold. Because if you really look at the Don Callis family, and I swear to you, I am not trying to be insulting to anybody. But it's very much NWO-esque, and you got your A team, your B team, your C team. Mark Davis is very much a B-, C+ member of the Don Callis family. The fact that he holds gold would be like if Vincent or Horace Hogan had like the U.S. championship. Like seriously, it's that meaningful. Because Mark Davis probably is not going to sniff gold until him and Fletcher leave the Callis family. And at that point, we've built Fletcher up to be enough of a major star that it would be like Triple H going back to the IC title because Austin was world champion. If Fletcher goes back to being a tag champion with Davis and doesn't pursue the world title, or
Right.
keep the TNT, or go after the national championship. Like, it's that much of a disservice to Fletcher. So this is really like one of the only ways I see Davis with gold at all,
May I counter you?
I guess.
Go for it, Nick. Keep it brief if you can, because this is interesting. We turn it to the Mark Davis story. But to JJ's point, first gold since returning from injury, and first actual AEW gold, because the only other gold he's ever held while in AEW was the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Go ahead, Nick. What you got to say?
We are leaving out how, yes, you're right, and you think that Davis's next piece of gold would be with Kyle. I actually think he would be a better team with Doyle. Like, Davis and Doyle was a great team. I can see them two holding tag team titles.
Fair. Their team was so short-lived that I forgot they had been a team.
You're right. But when they were together,
it's like Jake Doyle signed his contract, the ink dried, and he was out injured.
Yeah. And it was terrible when it happened, right? But
Doyle!
They already had a tag team championship match, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can see them being a tag team.
But considering the tag division that we have right now,
and we'll talk about the tag titles next,
and where we see the progression of things going, it's gonna be a minute before they really start to sniff serious contention.
Exactly. They had to earn that contention, by the way, as well. Lest we forget, it was a fatal four-way number contenders match, including against the Young Bucks. That freaking Jake Doyle, I cannot get used to that name, and freaking Mark Davis, freaking came in like a bull in a china shop and wreaked havoc and earned the opportunity.
They came in like a wrecking ball.
They came in like a wrecking
ball.
I just see them bringing back, and this is why, like, this card is so interesting because there's so many moving parts that you can do. While I get your thing, I just think, and we'll talk about it with the Takeshita match, there's been a title, with no pun intended, there's been a title that has gone away that I think will be coming back very shortly. So when we get there, we'll talk about it, which is why I see the title change in this match. So, yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Some more food for thought for later, and I definitely respect that. All right. Well, that being said, I guess we did just talk about titles, so we'll go ahead and talk about a singles match then instead, just to change the dynamic of violence and who truly is the most dangerous. Because whose house, even though we are literally looking at somebody from the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, Swerve Strickland, who signed on the dotted line at this pay-per-view, lest we forget, literally 4 years ago. Ain't that some crazy shit? Taking on Brody King. Now, we all know what this stands from, but again, I'll bring you up to speed. Of course, Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega, Brody King all have gold intentions for this year. Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega faced each other for the first ever one-on-one, and Swerve to get the win because he said he needed this. He needed this. After both men fell short in the AEW number contendership tournament for the World Championship, Swerve not only beat Omega, he bludgeoned him, he injured him, he coppa-killed him after a match where Kenny Omega has been out indefinitely, although he's been doing welcome back for Street Fighter. And of course, right now, during that segment, we heard Swerve not called the dangerous man, most dangerous man in AEW, Brody King was. And Swerve apparently has not forgotten about that comment. To the point, he choked Brody King out with a steel chain. And the following week, he tried it again, tried a sneak attack. Brody King broke the chain. It's the first time ever one-on-one matchup with one of the meanest dogs, pun intended, and the biggest man of violence versus arguably the self-proclaimed most dangerous man in AEW, both looking to get back to World Championship contention. I must remind you, Swerve Strickland built his dynasty winning the AEW World Championship against Samoa Joe at that very pay-per-view name 2 years ago. With Dynasty around the corner, Could Swerve Strickland be back in the conversation, or could somebody else once again make it a rough time for Swerve Strickland in his house? Let's go ahead and see what y'all think about this. And keep in mind, guys, you called Brodito's other half already in the other match. 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 0 for 2. You tell me. Let's go around the horn and see what y'all think about this grudge match. Quite literally. That's what it is. It's a grudge match. I believe this time it's on Nick first. So, what?
It's on you. You haven't started yet.
All right, fine. I get. Well, I mean, I'm the one.
We've had me and Nick both start twice, I believe.
Yeah,
it's time for you to start one.
Let's go, buddy.
All right, freaking hell. Put me on the spot, why don't you? Look, with the character dynamic of Swerve Strickland getting back to where he really was, where it wasn't about saving AEW from corporate America, but literally being the guy that AEW needs to fear, but also maybe follow by example, especially telling Kevin Knight, you want to be a killer and be with killers, you got to become one yourself. And I almost wonder if that's food for thought for the Jet, who was one of the most promising athletes that Swerve endorsed as the future. Meanwhile, Brody King, he's not had like a major preview moment. Hell, last year he was on the show. He did face Kazuchika Okada for the Continental Championship. He came up short. It's one of those things that I feel like Brody King is still finding his way towards championship contention, and Swerve Strickland has been there and wants to get back there on his own merit. I think right now I'm buying more into Swerve getting back after Mata Ab. We've never had this one-on-one match encounter yet in AEW. MJF and Swerve Strickland, talking about dynamics here. But I also do think somebody else is going to rise again for revenge. Will it become as violent as a rivalry as Swerve and Hangman was? I hope not. But it's one of those things here that this telegraphs, for me, a future challenger for the AEW World Championship. And Brody King just had his shot down in Australia. I got to go with Swerve Strickland here. I think Swerve's going to find a way they can pass Brody King and lay him out with a house call. Steel chain or not, and Prince Nana in his corner, I'm going with Swerve, proving to me he still is the most dangerous man in AEW, beating the most dangerous man in AEW, proclaimed by Kenny Omega. Time to back up your words, kid. Swerve Strickland for the win. That being said, go meets. JJ, what do you think?
I'm going to disagree with you.
Really?
I got Brody King.
Utah?
I feel like Kid Star is on the rise. You know, I feel like a big win over Swerve here in Los Angeles, student of Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, home base. I think that could be huge for him. And kind of like I touched on earlier when we were talking about Andrade and Bandito. If he gets a title opportunity out of this, victory, doesn't have to win it. But I feel like Brody needs that dub. Swerve has carved out enough equity, as has someone we'll be talking about in the female side of things a little bit later.
Yes.
But Swerve has carved out enough equity he can afford the L. It's not going to damage him. If anything, it'll make him lose his mind even more than he already has as of late. Become even more dangerous. And I'm here for that.
For more dangerous Swerve Strickland, you realize what you're asking for, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm asking for a Swerve Strickland that would have burned his own fucking house down.
Jesus! I don't know if I go that far. Damn near genocide. Okay. Wow. Well, that being said, it's a dynamic. Swerve and Brett. This is the first time I think we've run into this with Nick as the decider. This should be interesting. All right, Nick. Well, where do you stand in this conversation? The majority of the poll right now, the 19 people, they actually did go with Swerve Strickland. Again, I think y'all do this on purpose. 69 versus 31 for don't start. 31 for Brody King. And much to JD's point, Nick, Brody King, he's only had one actual world championship opportunity, and it just happened recently. But could this be the rise of the big man that we've all come to know as a tournament standout, but also a long-term player that Adam Copeland even said, time for you to carve your own way? What do you think about this, Nick?
I think it's no coincidence when you pay it, like, for those people out there that say constantly AEW doesn't tell stories. If you're paying attention to the product, They do tell stories.
Thank you. Sorry,
I
continue.
I think I think Swerve is winning, and I do think that he will reform the Mogul Embassy or some sort of Mogul Embassy kind of thing. I get
Oh,
what you're saying, JJ. Of he can afford the L. He can. I think that L is going to come from a returning Kenny Omega because that's not over yet.
oh no, not by a long shot. I didn't think
Not by
Kenny
a
Omega was going to show
long
up during
shot.
this match.
So I think I think Swerve needs this win because he'll evidently take the L to Kenny, and then that's how you get Kenny back into the world title scene. Um, so I got Swerve winning, but I also have my first return of the evening because it seems to me every time somebody from AEW's name is in the news or somebody talks about them, they are more than likely returning. And we literally just had Swerve talk about Buddy Matthews.
Yes.
So I can
Ooh.
totally see Buddy coming back at Revolution from his ankle injury, therefore reforming the Hounds of Hell and giving them a tag team title run that they should have gotten before Buddy got hurt. So
Right.
I have Swerve winning this match. Maybe by nefarious means, but I do have Swerve winning this match.
Well, about to say, if Swerve's going to prove he's the most dangerous man, we already saw he will house Carver Edwards and use the steel chain to his advantage. So it's a fair shout here. And that's, of course, about to say, that might be also accurate there. And they've already ran it. No offense to Brody, but strict losing seems like a step down, but that's my opinion. I mean, it's one of those things also, though, where again, Swerve Strickland is going to back up his character dynamic. Do you care about the impression you leave, or do you care about your win-loss record? MJF, when he first became chairman, says, you got to get some dubs. You're going to come after the freaking devils on their level. And Swerve, to his credit, since being Kenny Omega, he's picked up dubs. So, I mean, this would just be another. And Ash, of course, contributing here. She'd like to see Brody can eventually be added to the World Top picture, but feel there's a bit more work to do before we get there. And again, he already had his first chance. So, again,
I love my Canadian cohort.
of course you do.
But we are getting too close. And again, shout out to the Dirt Sheets. Have you noticed recently we haven't been getting a certain Billy Goat trailer in any
Bro.
Dynamites?
Yes.
Noah? You would
Yes.
know it. You would kind of, because I don't know if JJ's noticed, but
He was just at Wrestle Kingdom 8, of course, as he's been co-producing alongside Dan Reed and crew for Pro Wrestling Week. They just did a one-on-one live podcast discussion. So he's doing stuff over in Jelly Old England.
and I mean we've gotten Billy Goat vignettes before, but all of a sudden they've all seemed to stop. And then news comes out that he's preparing or ramping up to try to make it to AEW in the spring. I just see there's too many names at the top of the card to where Brody just it's not there yet. And I don't think it's this year for Brody. It's the year of the Billy Goat, in
All
my
right.
opinion. So
All right. It's foresight.
yeah.
It's foresight. Yes.
To that point, though, when we last saw the Billy Goat,
Bruv.
who was he running alongside?
Oh, let's see. When last saw he was. Oh. Yeah.
Nick?
He was running alongside a certain Swerve Strickland.
Ding, ding.
And what has changed about that Swerve Strickland since the Billy Goat has been injured?
He has been injured, and Swerve has gone through a little bit of a mental change.
Mental
So
change.
you don't think that the Billy Goat could come back and cost Swerve?
On the contrary, I think the Billy Goat can come back and
Because
exercise
I don't think the
that.
Billy Goat would come back and help somebody that's become as dastardly evil as Swerve has.
Not unless he decides to become the Commonwealth Kingpin all of a sudden again, and right now Ospreay is the farthest thing from that.
But I mean, we're all
I
about.
see Osprey coming back and distracting Swerve. That way we can turn that focus so that whether it is Hangman or MJF that walks out with the title,
I see what he's building.
we start building Swerve versus Osprey to potentially go towards the champion.
Yeah, I see what he's doing.
Especially if Osprey is going to be culminated and crowned this year.
We don't know that.
I said
I-
if.
yeah.
Said if.
He said if.
Then he should go through Swerve. He should go through Hangman, the people he was running alongside, en route to becoming the champion.
To your point,
There.
AJ.
Oh, hold on, no, sorry.
It's his show.
Okay.
Shut up when the suit is speaking. Thank you.
Okay.
Don't forget who's in charge here, bruv. I'm just gonna say this real
Because
quick.
remember, we can't see if you're raising a hand, and you're not putting in private chat that you want to raise hand either.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so again, man, dictation. It's a key thing here. Always simple on the studio. It's predicting. I'm just gonna say this to add to that. To your point, JJ, last year in what was AEW's show of the year, one of the matches of the year, culminated in a certain tournament that determined the number one contender for the AEW World Championship at All In. And that would be the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, where it came down to one Billy Goat versus one Cowboy that finally got his mind back again. And that very well could be a different situation or another repeat situation this year with a very different outcome.
Which is where I was going with that. So
I
never mind what I was gonna say, because that's kind of where I was going with it. So
But we also know that the way the IWC is, and I put some of this on myself because I catch myself doing it too.
Yeah, all right.
If we get too much of the same thing this year in the Owen, people are going to bitch.
Yep.
So if we have one of these happen at Dynasty, one of these maybe happen at Forbidden Door, since Double or Nothing would be the tournament finale.
Correct.
Then we avoid having too much of the same.
We'll have to wait and see. But I do understand your food for thought. But we know right now we got Revolution, we got Dynasty, we got Double or Nothing, and we know that All In will be this year in the Cathedral Festival of Wrestling Wembley Stadium.
Like, I could almost see Dynasty being Osprey versus Swerve, assuming Osprey comes back at Revolution. I could see Dynasty being Osprey versus Swerve.
All right.
I could see at some point in the tournament Osprey versus Hangman, Osprey versus Swerve, whatever, with Osprey going on. Because again, we have to set up Osprey for the title. Then I could see at Forbidden Door a triple threat with the match on the line. Whoever wins gets the title opportunity.
I see what you're putting down. And again, Forbidden Door has also, of course, been sometimes before, if not after All In. And we don't know the full schedule after Double or Nothing either. So it's good for a flop. But the bottom line, we know that the World Championship right now surrounds, as of this moment, particularly four men at the front of our minds, and that is Swerve Strickland, Heyman Adam Page, Will Ospreay, and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And very well come Sunday, when we get to our main event, one of those men could be eliminated from the equation forever. But that being said, as far as this match goes, if Swerve's going to continue to be part of that conversation and prove he's the most dangerous 2-for-1, he has to go over Brody King by hook or by crook or by steel chain means. So yeah, I got to go with Swerve here. All right. Well, that being said, I did notice you snap your fingers because it sounds like to me the filibuster is ready for a timeless interaction, or should I say a timeless first on pay-per-view. From last year's filibuster Hollywood ending to this unique, true one-on-one feature presentation. Spotlight, please, and do better. Because look at this. Timeless Tony Storm goes one-on-one again against the... You want to talk about somebody that really has branched out into her own this year and doesn't give a fuck what you think, and I love her for that. Marina Shafir, the lieutenant of the Death Riders, goes one-on-one against Timeless Tony Storm. And this is a story in itself for both women. This goes all the way back, of course, to literally the inaugural AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship tournament. As, of course, we saw the impromptu team, much to talk about Penelope Ford earlier, the Mega Problems, Marina Shafir and, of course, Megan Bayne, become one of the Timeless Love Bomb's worst nightmares. It escalated for the first ever Women's Blood and Guts, Eat Your Heart Out War Games, which became since friggin' 2019, just saying. And, of course, we saw in the end that Timeless Tony Storm surrendered to save her unconscious lover in Murder's Milk as Megan Bayne whipped her like a government beetle with the TBS title. Things escalated from there, not with a Taipei death match, Jesus Christ, Nina, but a hardcore holiday death match where the Timeless Love Bombs eliminated the Mega Problems from the tournament and moved to the finals. But since then, with continued conglomeration, and I say that politely, with Mixed Nuts Mayhem and everyone's favorite soap opera, The Citrus and the Timeless, we have seen this mixed tag team warfare with Orange Cassidy and Timeless Toy Storm, particularly involve Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta, to the point that Yuta is now finally a bald man. But now we have seen these two go one-on-one, where it ended in basically a no contest, and Marina Shafir has not only once, but twice toe-kicked Thomas Tony Storm the fuck out. So now we got these two going one-on-one after what happened this past recently on Collision, where the Timeless Love Bombs faced the Mega Towers for the first time, Leela Krause and Megan Bayne, and of course, Marina Shafir once again smothered Thomas Tony Storm tighter than Mina Shirakawa has been smothered by her, in Murder's Milk, and incapacitated her. To the point, Thomas Toy Storm, while she's only in black and white, was seeing red, and I'm not just meaning her lipstick, and called out Marina Shafir to finish this, insert the number of innuendo metaphors here faster than closed caption can pick up, in this one-on-one match where everyone is banned from ringside. So is this a climax, definitively, of a finale? Yes, I realize what I said. Thomas Toy Storm is warming up on me, and I don't like it. That we finally can shut Tony Storm up, Marina Shafir, who again has not laughed, has not been humored by this at all, or does Thomas Toy Storm once again give Marina Shafir a close-up without a mirror and show Shafir that I am better than you and I am the solution to the problem? What happens in this timeless affair with everyone banned from ringside? Gotta be a winner, gotta be an ending, gotta be a decider. Let's go the separate ways with these two, because this is getting ridiculous. We've done every possible thing you could do with these two without turning this into something that could be censored by the freaking FCC. Let's go around the horn and see what I'll think about this. And if it comes to Thomas Toy Storm, you know I'm going to talk to this man in full color. Hi, JJ. You get to see Thomas Toy Storm now for the first time ever as well. So what do you think about this timeless climax of these two's feud that's been going on for the better part of practically 5 damn months? What do you think happens? As he cheeky smiles. Look at the cheeky bastard.
I've got Marina Shafir winning this.
Oh!
I mentioned a moment ago that Swerve has built up enough equity, like someone else, that he can afford the loss and it won't damage him. Marina needs this. Bad. In my personal opinion, she has been the MVP of the Death Rider story.
Accurate. I agree.
So how do you show that? You let her get the dub over Timeless Tony. It may be a hot take. I may be on an island unto myself, and you can check the stats over there and let me know.
I most certainly will.
But I've got Marina here.
All right. You actually believe that the problem is not going to be solved?
Nope. Because to your point, you mentioned that Marina has toe-kicked Tony and knocked her out a couple of times.
Yeah.
So if Tony wins, the story continues. The only way for a definitive ending is Mother's Milk. Because if she's already been knocked out a couple times and then she submits, where do you go from there?
Well,
That's about as definitive of an ending as you can get.
just smother her and she just passes out, fade to black.
Which, by the way, if anyone wants to super chat or PayPal so that I can ask Mina Shirakawa to smother me at WrestleCade, WrestleCon, I will gladly film it and throw it onto the channel. But
Will you stop that?
I will not.
Bloody hell.
I want to meet Mina. We love Mina.
Okay,
Everybody
truth be
loves
told,
Mina.
yes, we all want Mina. We all love Mina. You can go see her at WrestleCon and get a selfie. All right.
Nobody gives a shit about Raymond. Everybody doesn't love Raymond, but everybody loves Mina. I don't know a single person that hates Mina.
Yeah, if you hate Mina, you got no soul. And again, I think
well, Jeff is a ginger. He has no soul, but I even don't think he hates Mina.
I don't think all gingers are soulless, to be fair. But also, that being said, accurate. And also, I think Maria Shafir admires Mina Shirakawa, considering their one-on-one match a while back, and she gave her flowers afterwards, even though, again, she held her tighter than Thomas Toy Storm ever did. So who truly is her forever lover? Damn. That being said, this is more freaking inclusive and all action than freaking Pro Wrestling Eve sometimes is. All right. That being said, he picked the problem, Maria Shafir. Nick, let's go with you on this. And believe it or not, he is not on of his own. There are a couple other people that agree with you. One other brave soul. 2 people out of the 19 so far have picked the problem, Marina Shafir, while 90% with Thomas Toy Storm. As letting her thoughts, this match going away, but I have a feeling Toni Storm is winning. Only issue is, what do they do at Marina after the match if she does lose? Well, let's look at it this way. Marina Shafir was never involved in direct combat, let alone in-ring action, before this program really escalated and involved Thomas Toy Storm. It was almost like a foil. And again, the Death Riders, at their own way, they wanted to push AEW to be better, and that's what Shafir has been screaming at everybody. So, if this is the only way that Thomas Toy Storm can be better, considering she also said, I'm going to beat that bitch, and then I'm coming back for my championship, wink, wink, then this is a great catapult to that. When it comes to the Death Riders, for me, especially Shafir, Shafir's one that already has proven her value to me since joining this storyline, like I talked about, all right? She'll take a bullet for John Moxley, for Pete's sake. And she fears no man or woman or any pronoun you represent yourself with. Anywhere. Always doing the work. And when John Moxley was talking about Renee Paquette in that close about what Shafir does sometimes outside training them, where she's always in fight mode, it's quite impressive. It's one of those things right now that I think Shafir is just one of those things to lead to something bigger. But the problem is always going to test herself and test anybody she's in the ring with. I think we've kind of messed with the Mina and the Tony thing long enough to the point it escalated to pay-per-view. And again, if anyone banned from ringside, there will be no excuses. So I just want to keep that in there as well. So again, what does she do after she loses? Death Riders, they continue to do the work. They continue to try and outbeat tomorrow, today, etc., etc. Talk to John Moxley, talk to Claudio Castagnoli, talk to anybody in the Death Riders about what they do next. Nothing changes except the day. The work continues, period. And Shafir is the definition of that. So keep that in mind, Ash. All right, that being said, he's got Shafir. Nick, it's on you. Do you agree with JJ, or do you think that this is their timeless last?
I've got Tony winning this. I feel like, again, with all the moving parts in the women's division too, I see Tony winning this. As for what Marina does, the dirt sheets have reported there are still women that are signed that have not made their debut on TV.
That don't surprise me.
So, do we put Marina in a tag team? Do we put her with somebody that complements her? I mean, I haven't heard any news yet, and I could be wrong, but is Shayna Baszler still with WWE? So I think that you can do stuff with Marina. You can find somebody to complement her and put her in the tag team division, because the tag team division needs tag teams. So yeah, I got Tony winning, but I also have my second return of the evening. And this is my tinfoil hat. I think we get the Doctor back confronting Tony. And you do Tony Storm versus Britt Baker at Dynasty. I don't know. That's my tinfoil hat. I have either I feel like DMD is coming back soon. I feel like it's either to confront Tony or
I'm at JJ.
Hey man, JJ's got his tinfoil hat on too.
Look,
To be fair,
Nick, I love you with all my heart, bro. But if Britt were gonna be back, she'd have been back by now.
yeah, and again,
You've got a better shot of Ronda Rousey making a return to AEW and Tony Khan television than you do Britt Baker at this point.
That's accurate, actually. That's accurate. And we're in Los Angeles, by the way, folks. But I also want to put this out there.
And especially with the Carano fight coming up and the fact that that's not being promoted by UFC. Yep. So it's not being promoted by a partner of WWE. So they could use her for kind of that, push of this other venture.
Good. I just think Britt. I don't know. I have a feeling that Britt's coming back, and I don't know why.
I mean, like I said, there's a 1% chance that you still can get an STD while wearing a condom during sex. So anything is possible. That being said,
I would love to know how the simple virgin knows this stuff.
Because I took sex ed in freaking junior high because I had to. Some knowledge I can never forget, and some knowledge I never use. But you never forget. There you go. That being said, I'm smart for a reason, folks, and single and a virgin also for a reason.
And Wayne, you're not the only one. I just predicted Marina too. I just don't know if you popped in here early enough to hear me say it.
So I now know the two. Okay, then. So now I know who to blame in case I'm wrong. And stay tuned, folks. Me and Gio to break it down. Our predictions post more AEW style after the pay-per-view concludes. A day and time to be determined. See you. Good to see you, Dwayne Atkinson, by the way. Appreciate you. All right. Well, that being said, we got a crazy prediction for the DMD. By the way, be better human beings. Not just be better in the ring like Shafir wants, folks. Be better outside your phone. Be better in reality. Be better around others. Be better towards yourself. Be better towards each other. Or get the fuck out of here. You don't belong in this lurf. All right. That being said, thank you, JJ. Thank you, Nick. All right. So we are 1-1. Well, guess what? I picked Tony Storm. I feel like the fact that
surprised.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. It's definitive one-on-one. Everyone banned from ringside. These two have been at each other's throats since literally last year in November when this timeless echelon with the Death Riders started, that started with just women and involved freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta losing his hair. We're not going to get freaking any deeper than this. I understand I stood deeper, and I know Tony Storm's in the match. Don't come at me. It's just one of those
deeper and climax.
You know what?
About being smothered.
You know what? Let's just keep going. Why the fuck not? You know what? Someone's going to. I'm not going to go there because they're women. That being said,
I will say this much: I will be there live, and I'm sure it'll be an orgasmic experience.
Mm-hmm. All right, fair enough. It just feels like to me it's time to go their separate ways. Shafir tries to make someone else better. We're breaking city right now. I think his ribs are hurting. And abstinence is best, Ash. Very good, young lady. It's just one of those things right now. Again, they've been going at this now since November last year. And will you stop that, Dwayne? Oy vey. I feel like they need to go two different ways. Now,
I'm just waiting for Safet to throw up the bisexual bedroom brawl.
Will you stop that? All right? I got it. It's just one of those things right now. Shafir has basically disciplined Tony Storm, baptized her by fire, 50 Shades of Grey style almost. It's just one of those things. I think they've gone through this long enough. And if you're going to sell this to Philly, one-on-one, everyone banned from ringside, and Tony Storm has golden intentions of going after her championship again against somebody she hasn't faced yet, AEW, possibly, just saying. I feel like you got to give her the win here. And again, the Death Riders, it's not about winning. It's about training, building, disciplining. And there's no bigger discipliner than the Death Riders than Maria Shafir against man or woman. So I'm expecting this to be a very unique one-on-one contest. and also very definitive, with Tony Storm winning, solving the problem for now. But don't think the problem won't come back. So yeah, I got Thomas Tony Storm. And that being said, we're going to move on from there before this gets any more. The following content you hear on this forum does not, of course, foreshadow the content you see regularly here at AEW Revolution. There's Charles. Damn it, Charles, you fucking idiot! Oh,
imagine you were writing a smut book based on Revolution.
You would know, Mr. King of SMI. You know what? We're not going there tonight. This is going way too far off the rails, and we've done the most dirty match possible in the wrong context, and it went even deeper. Fucking hell. Of course. Dwayne, you pathetic, weak-minded fool. Oy vey. All right, that's enough. Jesus, I'm surrounded by idiots every day. Okay, moving on from there.
And if you want more about books, go to feeling.booked on Instagram.
You got your book. You got your book page posted again.
Feeling.book on Instagram. Okay,
that's Nick's wife's book page.
She's trying to find. Ever since Kaya followed her, she's trying to find wrestling books.
Okay, well, at least it's wrestling books and not something else. Okay. This match might be rated R for all the wrong reasons. God help me, and I gotta call this shit. With Walter, probably. Oh, no.
And hopefully Ash.
Oh, no!
And hopefully Nick.
Let's not forget that for as good of a girl as she can be, Ash loves the ladies, too.
I'm well aware based on what I've learned from her.
So between Walter, Nick, and Ash, you may want to remove yourself from that particular match, Noah.
It's a match made in heaven.
So this is what the cutting crew meant. All right, moving on. Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead and get back into regular action.
Action Andretti? What? I didn't know he was on the show.
I mean, he's part of the crew, but he's not part of the show. But who is part of the show are the top guys. And how's this for a cool down? Because you also got to see this. FTR
This will be my bathroom break match.
Wow.
I'll go to the bathroom, take a nice, healthy 15-minute shit.
Okay, welcome to the Renegade of Wrestling Tonight, hosted by the regular wrestling JJ Williams, as he will talk last on this match because I fear that this is going to go into worse than a roast. But yes, FTR are going to defend the AEW Tag Team Chip. Good Lord, JJ. FTR defends the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Good Lord. Against the Young Bucks. No strangers to each other, as we know. Okay. Trying to get back on context here, folks.
I'm going to ask this question while you have the graphic up and you're talking about this match. Who has the longer tenured history here? FTR and the Bucks or the Renegade versus the Bucks? I'll let you, the fans in the chat room, decide. Continue, Noah.
If you know, you know, folks. And again, the opinions of the panelists do not reflect all the opinions of the panelists. Everyone is entitled to their opinions and suggestions.
Put it to you this way. I've been around the Bucks since the brother that got attacked at ringside was actually a wrestler.
Great segue. Because that's the whole reason it got even more personal, because FTR has literally assaulted the Young Bucks family. No wonder he could take that bump. And they also knocked out Brendan Cutler, but that's probably the easiest person to punch in the face. Exactly.
Who?
No, damn it. Nonetheless, these guys have been at odds and with each other. Who's the greater tag team since FTR invaded AEW during the pandemic and beat the Young Bucks literally for the championships, while the Young Bucks won them back without even wearing a super kicked sneaker. We've seen the Young Bucks return to their classic tasseled Young Bucks form. And of course, they did earn this opportunity to now become record-setting 4-time AEW Tag Team Champions. Looking at the AEW landscape, looking at the Elite and how the Elite kind of gives them for showing how they might be at their odds end. You think about how many wrestlers these last year alone have been wrapping up, saying they're about to be done or going to be done soon. Tanahashi, Nana Nakanishi, John Cena, AJ Styles, just to name a few prolific names for you. The Young Bucks might be part of that. Thank you. Yes, Jay Martinez, who's on her retirement tour right now. The Young Bucks might be part of that conversation. FTR, of course, who have held these titles by hook and by crook, of course, since winning them back. Yeah, right. And of course, we recently saw them face not only Buster and the Brain, but the Rascals when it came to title contention right now. And we're honestly wondering who would take the titles off them. Maybe a team that brings some Boston-ness, who's only had one-on-one encounter with them last year at All Out that Nick, you saw live. And of course, we saw what happened to the Glamazon. And I do think a receipt is coming. And rumor has it, or so we've heard, Adam Copeland will be retiring this year in Toronto at Wrestle Dream. So keep that in mind, folks. How's that for an ultimate opportunity? So right now, while Nick is giggling like a schoolgirl, top guys still rule or top guys out as leaders of the AEW Tag Team Division? Let's go around the horn and get y'all's thoughts real quick towards this. And believe it or not, folks, we still have 3 matches left of this. They're all the World Championships, the Continental Championship, but at least they're the most defended matches, I think. Nick, you kick things off, and then I'll bring in our. Well, hold on, JJ. Let's go ahead.
I was going to say, why don't we bring in our panelist and let somebody new start things off?
Coming out of a manhole on a holiday park venue near you, it's Charles Schultz who finally joined the room. Charles, how are you? You deserve that what you did in that women's match.
Look, someone had to do it. Safat was taking his time.
Yeah, why do you have to be an instigator of madness? And I surround enough of it here with these two gentlemen. Anyway.
No.
Oh, it's been fun.
You know what? That's for fair. All right. Well, anyway, Charles, good to hear you. Welcome to the conversation. Let's start with you first. What you got to say regarding the AEW Tag Team Championships? You got new champs and you got FTR retaining.
I got FTR retaining. I'm just waiting for to see what the hell's going on with Cope and Christian at this point.
Right.
I feel like that just disappeared and dropped off the face of the earth.
I think Copeland was doing something with television. Yeah, again, I missed.
Yeah, he was filming Percy Jackson.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I thought there was a sequel to that. Okay, well, that being said, again, Dynasty, Double or Nothing, ... AEW, All In, ... Wrestle Dream, possibly ... All right. Well, thank you, Charles. He set the ballot for FTR. Nick, let's go to you next. FTR have been 3-time AEW Tag Team Champions now. The reign has been over 110 days. And I believe this will be their fourth defense of these championships since beating Brodito in, again, a crazy match last year at AEW Full Gear. So, Nick, what do you think?
I got FTR winning off of a fuck finish, and this is where my third and final return come in. I think we get CNC coming back at Revolution to set up whatever you want to call it, but they will set up AEW's first TLC match at Dynasty with FTR in the bar.
He's just trying to book the greatest show he can watch live. He's just trying to book the greatest show he can watch live.
No. I said at Dynasty. Sorry, at Dynasty. It makes too much sense for the name of that pay-per-view and having 3 teams of this stature coming together. I just can't see it. So I have FTR winning off of a fuck finish. And then we get CNC coming back, and then that's how we kind of get into our triple threat match.
All right, fair enough. Before I give it to JJ here, shout out again to Emmanuel. FTR wins, and we still want to see Adam and Christian win. As saying, if I had to pick the lesser of two evils, in her opinion, because I don't want either team to have the titles. But with that being said, I pick FTR. And what team's been built up for future tag matches? Well, considering you have 2 of the brightest, youngest, independent rising tag teams back in now into the division. Private Party also back in the division. Former AEW Tag Team Champions. Might I add, they beat the Young Bucks for their only run. This tag division's got some depth. Hell, they survived Davis and Doyle because freaking Doyle got injured prematurely during that match. So, again, it has hindsight. But that being said, JJ, it actually is almost 50-50, but not quite. There's a little offset. 42% with the Young Bucks retaining. A majority, 58%, actually with the Young Bucks winning. So, hi JJ. What do you guys say regarding this match?
I, I heard it too. I'm not going to bust Noah's balls. I see what Nick said and I raise him.
Yeah.
I do see this match ending with FTR retaining due to the return of Christian and Cope. However, I don't see the TLC coming into play at Dynasty. I see it coming into play a little bit further down the road. Dynasty, I think it's going to be Christian and Cope versus FTR. And via a fuck finish, FTR will retain.
Oh.
This will lead us to Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing will be a triple threat between the teams. This is where Christian and Cope will win the titles. All in London
Oh, good Lord.
will be our TLC match. Because if you're going to do something like that for a first time, you want it to be on a grand stage. Wembley Stadium is that stage.
All right.
I can see the Bucks taking the belts from Christian and Cope there.
See, wait. Time out. You do think that the Bucks, though, do have one more run in them?
For as much crap as I give Matthew and Nicholas Massey, yes, I do.
You heard it here, folks.
I have been calling for this since the end of last year, beginning of this year.
Right.
The Young Bucks were their generation's version of the Hardys, who were Edge and Christian's biggest rival, the Hardys. So for Christian and Cope to eventually lose the titles to Matthew and Nick seems like poetic justice.
Fair enough.
FTR is essentially the Dudley Boys in this scenario.
About to say, we
They're
literally
the third
saw
team
them
thrown
put
in
the
there.
table. We literally saw them put one of the Bucks through the damn announce table with a stuffed pile driver this past Wednesday on Dynamite. I'm just saying.
So I see Nick, but I raise him. But FTR to the prediction and who walks out with the gold.
Ding ding.
FTR leaves with the gold, disappointing all of the people from Southern California and Rancho Cucamonga and the PWG faithful that are going to be in the Staples Center while I laugh my asses off. Because I'm fat. I've got more than one ass. Like people have more than one chin. I'm going to be laughing my asses off. I think the better question is, what do Matt and Nick do for their entrance? Because they've become quite known for their lavish entrances. Granted, most of them were done while they were heels. But we are walking into the hallowed halls of the Staples Center, where Shaq and Kobe ran, where Brown and Kopitar ran, and no one gives a shit about the Clippers. But I'm gonna be curious to see what the Bucks have in store for their entrance here.
All right, fair enough.
Gretzky already left the team before we came to Staples Center, so you can't do Gretzky and Robitaille. You can't do Magic and Kareem. Those are too old. Like the Bucks were fetuses, infantiles during that point. So, and those tandems never really ran at Staples Center.
About to say, yes.
But
the
Shaq and Kobe,
like Mamba for life. R.I.P.
But Brown and Kobe, yeah. Those are some dynamic duos that have ran that floor.
Okay,
and
fair enough.
I did see Charles's hand up.
Yeah, but I was saying, I was just waiting for you to finish your tourist guide on Los Angeles, California. But thank you for that, Jada. That being said, He's got FTR also retaining, and so do I. It's kind of funny, actually. The last time the Young Bucks beat FTR was literally, I think, full gear during the pandemic. And if I remember correctly, that ladder match. But I think FTR has actually beaten the Young Bucks each other time. So I think they're actually 2-2 against each other in tag matches. But I'm not entirely sure if that is completely the case. But they've had at least, what, 4 traditional tag team matches, I think, against each other right now. Someone can fact check me on that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get Charles' thoughts now. Charles, you had your hand up. What you got to say real quick before we move on?
The last match they had was a ladder match at the Dynasty where Jack Perry made return. The Young Bucks retained one day the tag titles.
Right. That's right. Thank you. I forgot about that one because again, it was.
And also, damn, JJ, you're in. Well, then again, I don't think they're Clippers fans. Oh wait,
all
they
right,
probably are.
This is the Sports Center.
I'm actually not a Clippers hater. I'm actually more of a Lakers hater, but I don't know the Clippers well enough to actually know any dynamic duos.
Be careful, JJ.
I'm just being real. I'm keeping it a buck here. And if you want to hear why I don't like the Lakers, super chat.
Yeah, there you go. Super chat or PayPal. It's simple as that. Continue, Charles. Good grief.
Oh, that's about it. It's just there was the ladder match, and then what JJ said. That was just too funny.
Of course. And again, folks, super chat, PayPal to continue to dictate the conversations here. It's as simple as that. All right, let's go ahead and move into our next match here. And this one is going to be interesting because the way Fekla views Chris Statlander, or this women's division for that matter, and the rise of the Toxic Spider in less than a year has been absolutely tremendous. So will Madness continue to rule, or are we going to see someone get killed? Not once, but twice. Because they're 1-1, so we're going to sell this the old-fashioned way by a match score scope. In 2-3 Falls, it's an AEW Women's World Championship match between Chris Statlander, the Cosmic Killer, former champion, by the way, who lost it via strap match thanks to the Triangle of Madness, while she's looking for her face scar, and she got literally leather whipped across her face and somehow did not leave a mark. Damn. And by the way, folks, that was the same strap used in Ricky Starks versus Bryan Danielson from AEW All Out a couple of years ago, just saying. Taking on the Toxic Spider and Thekla. This is their third ever singles encounter, and Thekla's second defense since season the AEW Women's World Championship. Remember what you talked about before, by the way, folks, in Timeless Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir, because that literally might be cause and effect. So straight up, we've seen, of course, the fallout with the Cosmic Babes of Rap and the Triangle of Madness through trios, through tags, and through singles. There was once an obligation where the Babes of Rap will defend the titles against the Sisters of Sin if they didn't get involved in the initial Chris Statlander and Thekla match, which they did. And Chris Statlander won that night, countering the Toxic Spear into a freaking Saturday Night Fever. Tremendous. Chris Statlander, by the way, one of the longest tenured individuals in the AEW Women's roster with the most singles wins, and just coming back from London, still the even national champion, taking on the former Dakota Kai Kid Charlie successfully at Wrestle Kingdom 8, showing how much of a killing streak she has, dropping Dakota Kai on her head, not once, but 3 times for the finish. It might take that and so much more in this 2-out-of-3 Falls match. Of course, you all know how 2-out-of-3 Falls work. You win via pinfall, submission, countout, or disqualification. The first one to get 2 falls rendered will lead the AEW Women's World Championship, and I believe finish this trifecta of a madness in this series of matches for the time being. So, do you all think that the AEW Women's Division stays toxic? Or does Chris Statlander surprise us and regain the championship? Let's go around the horn and see what y'all think about this. We're going to change the dynamic up a little bit. So we got 4 screens and go crisscross. So, Nick, you're first. What's your thoughts on Chris Statlander's killer instinct, almost bound like a Terminator, taking on Thekla for the 3rd time ever in singles action and selling the score in 2-out-of-3 Falls since they're 1-1? What do you guys say about this?
I don't think... I mean... Again, this is another instance where I wish Tony hopefully can have fun with this. Listen, at the end of the day, and we're thinking farther ahead.
Well, definitely you.
But you have to keep in mind with this that eventually the CEO is gonna get this title. So I mean, yeah, I know, but it just I don't know. I have Tekla winning this because I think she just got it.
Mhm.
But again, I can see Chris winning it, and doing Chris versus Tony. I can see Chris having a program with again a certain doctor if he returns.
He just really
Um,
wants to see that DMD back on his screen.
I just at the end of the day, I just think these are, just like we want the Billy Goat to win it in London. I think it's only a matter of time before Monet comes back and takes this belt. So I mean, I have Tekla winning, but I wish and I hope they actually, because is there a time limit in a 2 out of 3 falls?
No,
No time limit.
no. And again, JJ, you're in for the long haul.
Yep. Um. I have
Just
Tekla
remember, I
winning.
still have to drive almost 2 hours back home after this.
Oh,
Yep. And you're ending with Texas death. Continue.
yeah, no, I have Tekla winning, and I mean, hopefully, the AEW women's title picture is a little bit more murkier and very. There's a lot of unpredictability going with this, so I have Tekla winning.
That's one of the reasons why I like the state of this championship and the challenger pool and the fact that you could be either the chased or the chaser. And Chris Statler has been both those roles. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Much like MJF, she is a locker room leader and a standard for AEW. Hell, she's been in the ring almost with, I think she's literally been in the ring with every woman on this division now. So that goes to the trust. Again, go look at Chris Van Vliet to learn more about Chris Statler's outlook and how she's just glad that she could literally work with anybody here, and everyone wants to work with her, including across the pond in Pro Wrestling East, might I add, where she's coming back from. It's just one of those things where her winning the championship was unexpected, but incredible. And already being in the 2 most prolific names, to your point, they had the women's division and Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm back to back in singles matches. She has nothing else she needs to prove holding the gold. And she said she wanted to bring out the best character and the best out of the women's division while being champion. And there's no arguing the rise and the presence of Thekla and what she brings right now holding the Asian Women's Championship. Her promo skills and intensity alone, dynamic with the microphone, is a whole different dynamic we have not seen the likes of in AEW. It's also Thekla's first opportunity holding a world championship in her young career. So with that being said, I think this does go to the 3 falls. I do think we're going to get shenanigans. It's going to break down with the Triangle of Madness, might I add, the only definitive women's faction in AEW right now, why Sky Blue and Julia Hart are still so young, growing in their own way, and the launch of history of Chris Statler and them goes even further than that. I do think that Thekla's toxic run will continue, but I also think Chris Statler's vendetta, which is what I'm invested into, against Triangle of Madness, is also not going to stop. And I don't think we're going to get blood and guts anytime soon, but I do see Triangle of Madness and Cosmic Bays of Wrath at the forefront of the next time we find women in a cage, bloody and battered and bruising each other, because these women fucking fight, damn it, and they love it, sooner rather than later. But yeah, I got Thekla retaining as well, and I'm curious to see how far this reign goes, and if we finally do get Thomas Toni Storm versus Thekla one-on-one for the first time ever. But yeah, I got the champ retaining too. Charles, right now it's not unanimous. Believe it or not, there's a single person actually that picked Chris Statlander, 95% for Thekla, 1 person for Stat. But what do you think about this dynamic, and what do you think it leads to? Go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, Nick's right. I expect this. I expect Flacco to retain, but I expect that belt's going to go to Mercedes at some point. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Shouting for the CEO, adding the most richest cornerstone to her portfolio as her stock continues to drop. She just lost, of course, another championship. I believe she's now down to 7 belts, by the way. And yes, Ash, as an advocate of women's wrestling and an advocate for Chris Statlander. Statlander, damn it! I cannot wait for this match. This is one of my top 3 matches of the night. Again, I love my brother. We're never going to agree on everything, but you already know where I stand. All right. And go ahead, Charles. I'm just reading comments here.
Which to see you mentioned Mercedes losing all the titles, and I'm saying to see how they're going. Yep, she's gonna get the women's title at some point now.
We'll see. Again.
Now TK doesn't have to worry about a lot of her women's world champion losing on these shows.
I mean, again,
Business.
hindsight's 2020. I do see what you mean. Continue.
That's basically about it.
All right, fair enough. And again, Ash, I'm still looking forward to this. This is the only spider I love. Any other spider, I go into a murder mode. That being said, Feckle Championship reign will continue. The switcher will be a hard scratcher because of Chris regains. Why she lost the title in the first place? Well, unlike other places, the AEW Championship is usually not transitional, especially the World Championship, as long as the person doesn't get injured. Again, though, neither of these women are going to be careful, and I'm for it. I hope they fuck each other up. And shout out to Jeff motherfucking Meacham. Good to see him in the chat. I also hope that you're doing better, my friend. And also, no, I'll go check out the highlights tomorrow. We are hashtag spoiler free. That being said, JJ, it's now on you to close this one out. What do you think about this match? What do you think leads to? What's your score? Go ahead.
Well, before I go into the match, would you like to know what he's referring to? Because I fully intended to show it to you at some point. I've been prepared, just waiting for the opportune moment.
Well, we are talking about women in wrestling, and I love women in wrestling and advocating for women in wrestling. So go ahead. Folks, we got a little bit of intermission.
Just keep in mind, this is about a 3-minute clip. I fast forwarded because I don't think you need to see Johnny Sweener.
No.
I know you don't want to see that, but it leads to this.
Hello, Rosemary.
Make sure that the volume is up here. And play.
There. You see? Everything went perfectly. That's 2 sins taken care of. 5 more to go. Everything is going according to plan. You worry too much. Trust us.
I almost get to talk to real people again. Okay, let me practice. Hi, I'm Allie.
Oh, buddy.
Okay, that makes me happy. That makes me very happy.
Noah's face when he was making that smile, I was getting the Grinch vibes for a second. I was like, what the heck? That creeped me out.
Well, I guess even Rosemary can. Yeah, I guess Rosemary can even bring back people possibly from the dead. What are the prices for Cleveland? I'll have to look at this. Okay, thank you for that, JJ. I guess the bunny might come back home to TNA Wrestling. Yay. Well, I've been seeing Laura Denise's journey for mental health recovery. Again, you can follow her and Allison K's podcast, of course, Chainsaw Girls, and of course, follow her on Patreon, where she keeps you into of her spooky escapades. So, okay, this makes me very happy. And again, wrestling truly is part of somebody forever. You truly never want to leave it, as it truly is something you can't live without being of it. So if that is the case, welcome back to TNA Alley. Hey, Alley. All right. Nick, I see your hand before we get back into our regular match schedule. What do you got to say real quick?
So I actually knew of this beforehand. I'd like to shout out Mr. Evan Zalios, the promoter of Progress Wrestling. Shout out to Progress and all they do. He actually posted a tweet that came from Maven, where it's Maven sitting on the throne and having Ali on one side and Rosemary on the other. And Raven's tweet says, a shot from the TNA taping in Atlanta on Friday. And this was 3 days ago. And Evan tweeted that picture, and he quote tweeted it saying, "Not Raven, just totally spoiling shit for all of us. Welcome back, Ali." So I actually saw this beforehand, and I was like, Raven tweeting stuff out with 0 fucks given. So
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. It's Raven, quote the Raven. Nevermore. That being said, yay. Okay, where were we?
You got Noah super hyper over this, super excited.
No, I'm perfectly fine. Emmanuel with a $2 super chat.
Yeah.
I need context on Noah and the Bunny history. Well, I
Uh
thought.
oh. Uh oh.
I will say this much before Noah goes into his prophecy, and
Prophecy.
and
See.
you will not jam me or start cursing me out. If there is one woman wrestler that turns Noah into a pile of goo the way that we simp for some of these women, it is the Bunny.
I hate that word.
Noah, as soon as the JJ got done showing you that in your face, you were literally about ready to smirk the whole entire grin on your face.
Yeah, Jeff's comment is 100%. That reaction was everything.
We
Look,
all saw it on camera.
Yeah.
It's all on video here.
all right. Look.
So give our super chatter context about Noah and the Bunny.
All right. Emmanuel with a $2 super chat. I need context about Noah and the Bunny's history. Well, I was first introduced to Cherry Bomb, aka who became the Bunny, Allie, with her feud with Courtney Rush in Smash Wrestling before Courtney Rush lost her hair and her damn mind and turned into the Demon. The saga Demon versus Assassin began. Laura Denise, Cherry Bomb also ran through the original class of Women of Honor, as well as ZCW at the time. As I continued following this young lady's journey across independence, which eventually led to her inevitable fall to the Demon in the independence, they somehow, of course, found their way into TNA wrestling. I believe Rosemary, Demon Assassin, came in through first, Decay, with Crazy Steve and Abyss in 2017, and the Bunny shortly followed. When Allie graced my screen on an Impact stage with Maria and Sienna, and who we now know as Chelsea Green, Laura Van Ness, and then the Demon and the Bunny had their first interaction, it was pure magic when it came to the fun segments and the sagas, both becoming champions, and just the humor with it. And then she was killed off, and I'm like, fuck. And then AEW was born, and she went to AEW, and I was extremely happy. Pandemic happened. She became a streamer. I became a streamer. There were some nice little communications of positivity and reinforcements. And there were some Among Us party engagements where I killed her, she killed me. And it just was humor from there and mutual support. It was always one of those fans where I always admired Allie's personality, but also as a mental health advocate. And that definitely helped me during the pandemic. So I've always supported the Bunny in wrestling, but learning more about the person has also been a fun endeavor, still to this day. So I'm extremely happy that Laura Denise has found her way back home to TNA. That actually might make me watch the product. All right, now.
I had figured to show you that when we went off the air, but Jeff's comment, I had it all queued up, so.
You sons of bitches.
And good thing you did, JJ, because we got that perfect face reaction to it.
All right. Well, that being said, yeah, literally, don't remind me. It was a horrible way she went out. One of the only times I ever cried in wrestling. But then I found her in a different realm in AEW, and I was very happy. Even saw her live. But yeah, Canadian power women, the power Canadian women have on people. You might not be wrong there, Ash. I mean, again, I appreciate you as well. But again, congratulations to Laura Denise, aka the Bunny, Allie, returning home and possibly back to life, it seems, in TNA wrestling. Rosemary, don't fuck this up. And more importantly, Carlos Silva, don't fuck this up. All right, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. We got 2 matches left. Charles, I see your hand. What do you want to say real quick? And Nick's device is overheating.
Nick devices are having too much fun. At least TNA kept continuity with the holes in Allie's thing last time we saw her in TNA. At least that was good to see.
Blood from her throat when Sue Young freaking pierced her throat thanks to Kevin Sullivan. Fucking hell.
Yep.
What a way to go out. All right. Now, let's get back on track here. Again, thank you, JJ. And also, yay, Allie. I'm curious to see what she posts about that on Patreon. All right. Moving on. Anyway, everyone here said Fekla to retain. 2 matches left. Now let's go ahead and talk about the other cause and effect of the night when it comes to the Don Callis family. What?
I never got to give my thoughts because we immediately went into that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead and lend your thoughts.
Well, much like everybody else, I am going for Thekla. I definitely, sadly, see Mercedes getting the title at some point this year. And I do feel that it has to go to a baby face for Mercedes to take it. Assuming that Mercedes isn't going to be the baby face in the story. Which is possible, but I don't know. Like, I just see Mercedes better as a heel. You know, so
it fits her character.
If they're gonna keep her as the heel, then it's got to go to a baby face. I just don't see it getting off of Thekla. I'm distracted by Nick's hand. Put it. We see the hand, Nick.
You're next after him, and then we got our 2 matches left. Please continue.
Charles puts it up real quick and takes it down. Where was I? I got distracted.
Mercedes Moné character, babyface, couldn't work because she's heelish.
I don't see her as the babyface. She's too good as a heel. So I do see the belt moving off of Thekla to a face, just not yet. Thekla just got this title not that long ago. Need to give her an opportunity to run with this, to cook with it a little bit. So, and I think I know what one of my signs is going to be for Revolution.
What?
It's a tribute to you, sir. Stat is not where it's at.
Every fan's entitled to their opinion, and I'm just going to, let you do your thing. Like I said, I've followed Denise for a long time. She's been through some rough stuff also, so I'm happy for her. All right. Okay. That being said, you're still going with Thekla. It's Thekla. Let Madness continue to run, and let Statlander continue to be Cosmic Killer on a mission. Mission not impossible. As far as Mercedes Moné, we'll see. Context. Does it happen when she goes down to 0 belts? She still has 7, folks. We'll see. Last year, she won the Owen, so again, we'll see. And we still don't know the entire block between AEW Double or Nothing and AEW All In, because there's usually a pay-per-view before there, I'm pretty sure. Okay, moving on from there. Our second match is the biggest context.
Nick did have his hand up.
Oh, that's right. Because he kept on going like a faded stop sign. That signal versus the word. Go ahead, Nick. What you got to say real quick?
Has Willow won the World Championship yet?
No.
She has not.
No.
Okay.
I think Nick is thinking what I'm thinking, and that Willow will probably be the one to dethrone Thekla, and then Mercedes can beat Willow yet again.
Oh, no.
Yes, me and JJ were thinking the same thing.
I mean, look, I love me some Willow. Everyone knows I love me some Willow, but when it comes to Mercedes, Willow is arguably her best rival right now. The New Japan Strong Title tournament where Mercedes got injured. Willow won that because Mercedes got injured. Mercedes took the TBS title off of her to begin her run. Mercedes lost the TBS title to her to begin her downfall. Mercedes defeat her for the world title. They've got this nagging history. Like, Willow and Mercedes could be the Bayley and Sasha for AEW.
That's a fair shout, honestly.
Amen.
That's a fair shout.
And heaven forbid when the two of them come together to form a unit like Bayley and Sasha did.
Oh, Jesus.
Until Bayley comes to AEW.
All right.
I'm just saying, it's a possibility. If Mercedes actually does do a babyface turn, Willow, I don't see becoming heel. I see her as the Ricky Steamboat, the eternal babyface.
For sure. I never see that woman going heel. Not one iota.
So if Mercedes ever does do the babyface turn, I could see it. Because they've had enough wars that there's the respect.
Yeah. Well, again, you literally learn a lot about someone in the ring the more times you are against them versus what you can be alongside them. Definition: the current Pro Wrestling E Women's Tag Team Champions, Lali, the Holly and Lana Austin, who I figured couldn't work with anybody. They've been incredible tag champs, successfully retaining the titles of Wrestle Queen of 8. So, I mean, again, it's very unique to see how well two people, if a history with each other or a chance to get upon them, can actually work well together. Or Rio, for that matter, although that team pretty much is. But anyway, different conversation. All right, let's move on to our next match, our semi.
Charles had his hand up during this, too.
I wasn't watching because I was just listening.
I'm trying
ahead,
to watch
Charles.
for you, bro.
I appreciate it because good grief. Charles, we got to say it real quick.
One, I agree with Jade and Nick that it probably is going to be Willow and Mercedes going to take the belt from. But now the question is, when that does happen, when does Willow drop the TBS title?
And who?
The
Because
TBS
that's the
title is something that can be dropped on a random Dynamite, or she can drop it at Dynasty.
Yeah,
that's
I just
fair.
don't see her losing both belts at Revolution.
no.
That'd be a little too
I
crazy.
do see Willow possibly winning the Owen this year.
She came
That's
close.
how she gets her title shot.
She was in the finals against the Glamour, Mariah May, and Mariah May won that year. So you're not too far off.
And considering Mercedes won it last year, Willow wins it this year. Kind of adds more fuel to my fire and Nick's fire about the rivalry and the potential team up.
Right.
Because they both would have an Owen Hart championship belt.
Yep. Okay.
And I was going to say this because about Mercedes being a face. She works much better as a heel.
There's
Way.
people
Even
that
WWE.
There's
Too.
people that are much better as heels and much better as faces. And
Exactly.
Mercedes is just one of those as a heel.
Yep. Period. There's no argument there. At the end of the day, everyone's against the top 1%. All right, let's go ahead and move
Now
into.
you can move on.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's go ahead and move into our semi-main event, which is truly going to be a definitive test of who wants it more, and there will be no excuses, because fuck time limits. Yeah, JJ, good luck with this one, because the fact of the matter, these two can go.
2 out of 3 falls, a Texas death match, a no time limit fall. Like, fuck me.
I envy you, and I'm also jealous of you, especially for that, you fucker. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this match. Jon Moxley, the definitive AEW Continental Champion, defends the gold against Konosuke Takeshita, his greatest rival in AEW, his greatest foil, even as he said on Close Up. And this time, we're not going to have no bullshit finish. We're not going to have no freaking time limit draw. We're going to have a fucking winner and see who truly is better. It's no time limit. Under normal circumstances, these matches will go to 20 minutes. All other rules are enforced. All seconds are banned from ringside. But the bottom line, the only way this match now ends is via a decision, via pinfall or submission. I'll be damned if you think a count-out's going to happen with these two men. Okay, guys, straight up, we know how this match came about. Jon Moxley, who truly showed what AEW is all about when people have counted him out, not just during the Continental Classic, but during his whole damn career. Me almost included. I knew he was going to be in the semifinals. I did not think he was going to win the whole thing. Represent my Ohio boy. Jon Moxley, who's been the heart and soul, whether black, white, clear as day, or blurred as freaking foggy days and nights, has been a definitive face of AEW, Grand Slam proudly now at this point, former AEW World Champion, was notorious, by the way, 4-time, and has been the reigning AEW Continental Champion since being in Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada in the finals. Of course, Kazuchika Okada held that title for near 600 days to being Eddie Kingston, and it was the second time Jon Moxley was in the finals. During the Continental Classic, though, the Alpha Konosuke did get a win over Jon Moxley. In a previous time, though, Jon Moxley got the win over Konosuke in AEW World Championship Eliminator. So they are 1-1, or should I say 1-1-1, because their last encounter down in Australia, it went to a fucking 20-man draw. And these two have been in 8-man trios, previews of who is really got the most momentum since the get-go. And Don Callis has thrown everybody not named Trent Beretta against Jon Moxley while he has been the Continental Champion up to this match. A very unique point, though, this past Wednesday on Dynamite, Konosuke wants no excuses. He wants to do this on his own. He wants the definitive dub. It goes back to that point of Konosuke saying he's the strongest in all professional wrestling and constantly testing himself, much like John Moxley, who's been hobbling on one leg probably since the Continental Classic. With Survival wins over Dunkzilla Mark Davis, Hechicero, and Clone, shall I continue? Not to mention definitive eliminators against Shelton Benjamin and Josh Alexander, all in the span of the last 2 months. We now find John Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita in the most definitive dance yet. So how does Don Callis try to prey on this? How does he try to influence this? Do we get definitive finale with this? Do we get more gold in the Don Callis family? Do we set up something that we have for the first time last year, again, when we go all in? Or does John Moxley continue to be the guy to spearhead the Continental Championship because he wants it more, he's driven by it more, and he feels like he deserves it more? There's a lot of what ifs with both men and this title, and in my opinion, Don Callis family member one's direction. Before we get into your thoughts, let's see what the audience has to say here. 19 in the poll. It is not 50-50, but 58% have John Moxley retaining. 42% have a new champion in Konosuke Takeshita. Let's go around the horn and see what you all think about this match. We will start off with Nick. Nick, what do you got to say regarding the AEW Continental Championship? John Moxley, Konosuke Takeshita, 4. Does Konosuke get it done finally?
Konosuke gets it done because you're just setting up the eventual, and this is why I said in the earlier match why I think Mystico and Jet Speed are winning the trios titles, because this is setting up the eventual unification match again with that unified title coming back out. So I have Takeshita winning this match.
All right, then. Short, sweet, simple, and to the point. Konosuke, new AEW Continental Champion. All right. Let's go around the different direction here. We haven't done it yet. We're going to go clockwise. So, Charles, you're on the bubble next. Again, Konosuke, he just lost the IWGP Worldwide Championship January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom against Yota Tsuji. He just gained the NWA World Television Championship against El Phantasmo at the New Beginning. So what do you think about Konosuke's dynamic now with the Don Callis family and AEW? Do you got him as the new Continental Champion?
I do. I do see the event. All this is leaning towards the unification match. Then I'm more curious about what happens with Mox after this.
All right.
Because it's just too funny how Moxley's more and more like the damn face at this point than any members of the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Or the Bald Riders at times for certain people.
Bald Riders. Well, okay, I guess that's a fresh out.
Hey, that was too funny.
All right. Yeah, I just think right now this dynamic with John Moxley caters to him being the Continental Champion. Honestly, it's the best work I think his whole Death Rider agenda has been dedicated to in bringing out the best and most violent in AEW. I haven't seen John Moxley this renewed in a long damn fucking time. And even on the close-up when it comes to what it means to be the Continental Champion and what Konosuke means to him as somebody that he may not understand him. Hell, he doesn't hang out with him, but as someone he respects and someone he connects with, because why everything is alien outside the ring. When it comes to what happens in the ring, I control everything, much like Konosuke wants to do. In the ring, I am more connected to Konosuke more than anything. I'm more connected to what's happening around me. These two have literally shaped each other for the better part of 2 years during literally both their history in AEW. So I do think John Moxley retains. As far as your question, Ash, God. Look, JJ has to find some sort of break at some point, and this match is going to hit balls to the walls, utter madness of fatigue, and these two men are not going to stop trying. I'm going to say it doesn't go 30, but I'm going to go at least 25. That being said, I got John Moxley retaining. I do think John Moxley gets the definitive win. I think the respect shown there. And I also think that Okada, beach, Hechicero, and Don Callis screwdrives another person that didn't want to go on his own agenda, but wanted to be their own person. Omega, Ospreay, first member of Don Callis' family, Konosuke. Because if anyone's going to become a big babyface this year besides what John Moxley's become, I think Konosuke has the best chance of breaking out as a babyface away from the Don Callis family. There's been those subtle nuances now since literally John Moxley's held this title. I think Konosuke is ready to once again truly be on his own and shape his own future without Don Callis family influences. And I'm still waiting for Okada and Konosuke too. There's bad blood there. Those two are going to face each other, and it doesn't have to involve gold. We saw what happened in the Continental Classic quarterfinals. So I got John Moxley winning, which leaves JJ. JJ, what you got to think about this? Konosuke and John Moxley for Continental Championship. Again, John Moxley, it's not the fucking Vision. It's not the fucking Bloodline. It's not like they kill off the head. The work keeps going. But no one works harder than the Death Riders, it seems, in John Moxley's opinion, and he literally is proving it. So again, that MO of work ethic is what this match is more about than anything. John Moxley, can it be broken? Can his leg be broken? JJ, what do you think happens here? Go ahead. I'm sure you got a way to break this down or see this dynamic fall out. And that's correct, Safet.
Yeah, I was going to ignore that comment because you literally just said that like 5 times during your speech. So
I know, and that's why I wanted to
I was going to ignore it.
Again, it wasn't towards you. Go ahead.
I've got Moxley here. I see the loss being what gets Takeshita kicked out of the Don Callis family. Because Okada has made sure to point out that the mission is to get gold. Everybody needs gold, and Takeshita doesn't have gold. Like, he does have a championship, but it's not something that's being really acknowledged on TV all that much.
It's announced, but to your point, he's not coming out wearing it because that's not what AEW is about, especially for him.
So to the AEW optics, he's beltless. And if he loses here, then what? You know, so I feel like he loses, gets kicked out, get the full-on babyface turn.
Yep.
Then maybe he can go after Okada, get that title, and then make another run at Mox to unify them.
Chasing the dragon, proverbially. The one dragon he can't friggin' beat.
Because Mox will have no reason to give him a championship match again if he loses. You know, Mox be like, I beat you definitively. Why am I going to keep coming after you?
Exactly.
But if he's got Okada's title and both belts are on the line, Mox will give him another shot. And really quickly, I saw you throw his comments up there, but I do want to give a shout out to Dev in the chat.
What up, Dev?
Member of the Wrestle Collective.
Good soul.
Follow them on YouTube, The Wrestle Collective, at Dubsy Worldwide on X. They've got the Wrestle Collective weekly podcast tomorrow. Traditionally, it's on Thursdays, but their head honcho is on his way out here for Revolution, so they pushed the podcast to tomorrow. They'll be previewing Revolution as well. Go on their archives, check out Queen's Road, a monthly showcase for women's wrestling, of which Dev is one of the panelists for.
That's awesome. When do they watch Wrestle Queendom?
They touched on Wrestle Queendom. Their main topic at the end of the show was your Mount Rushmore of women's wrestlers who inspire you.
Oh, God.
It was really good conversation, so much so that when I did Hot Dog and Handshake this week, which is the monthly show I do with Carlos, who is the moderator of Queens Road, I actually gave my Mount Rushmore at the end of that, having been so inspired by their topic. So go into their archives, check out that episode. Again, Dev's a panelist on that. He'll be on the thing tomorrow as well. So make sure you support the Wrestle Collective like they're showing out and supporting us.
Appreciate you, Wrestling Collective.
But yeah, I've got Mox here.
All right. Yeah, it just feels like to me, if there's one definitive angle at Revolution, it's Kenosuke Takeshita's future being flipped upside down, no longer being part of the Don Callis family. He was the first member. He's the first member to be kicked out of it.
Mhm.
Especially with Protocolo now being a Fame versus Protashida. Of course, you all
Yeah.
butcher that name.
I miss Proto Shitta.
Will you stop that?
Look,
Damn
look, it's one of those things. I know it's Pratashta. I can say Pratashta.
Good.
Like I can do it. It's not difficult. But it's a thing that I do in a ha-ha.
I know it's annoying.
Because I'm a white boy. I'm almost glow-in-the-dark neon white. Okay, I'm not quite as pale as Seamus, but I'm a pretty white boy.
I hear you, fella.
So I like to occasionally make things sound even whiter. So, Taquita, Burrito, you know, Dos Taquitos, por favor.
Oy, hey.
You know, so it's Proto Shitta.
Oy,
Because
oy,
if you
oy.
look at it, that's how it's written. Proto Shitta.
That's only if you read it phonetically.
Exactly. Well, when you don't know how to pronounce something, what do they always tell you, Noah? Break it down phonetically.
Yeah, and that's a flaw with the English
Proto
language.
Shitta.
Okay. It's a
Okay?
flaw. It's a flaw with the English language. If you freaking anyway. All right, moving on. That being
But yes,
said,
it's Protashta. I know that,
Yeah.
but I will forever miss Proto Shitta.
well, okay. That being said,
Maybe that should be the backside of my stat is not where it's at sign is a tombstone with Proto Shitta.
if I see that sign, I'm gonna call you out, you fucking idiots. All right. Well, that being said, this match is gonna kick all ass. Good luck to both men. May the stronger wrestler win. All right. Well, we've had a lot of wild tangents, fun conversations, overall fantasy booking outlook, some fun side conversations with y'all super chats, and of course your PayPal passions. Not to mention the TNA interface reaction. But let's go ahead and get right into and what you're going to see. Main event, which will truly be possibly the Hangman's last stand in Texas Death, because these two men that have shaped each other. What?
Time out real quick because Ash just got in a super chat and
Oh,
it relays to the match we just spoke about. So
you
let's
lucky
do that
young
before.
lady, buzzer beater. All right,
Hey,
$5 Canadian. Let's go ahead and talk about Ash's super chat. God bless her.
Love you, Ash.
Who gets ousted from the group first, Takeshita or Mox? When, where, and how does it happen? Again, the Death Riders, it's not a family, it's not a brotherhood, it's a mutual agreement with a vision for AEW that has stood strong since literally when this fame became a thing in freaking fall 2024. So I don't think it's Mox, because Mox has already definitively proven what this is about, what this business is about. As long as that business acumen is shared by those men and that woman, it ain't changing. And I don't see no signs of that changing, just further being proved. So yeah, Takeshita gets out at first. When? If not a Revolution, the following Dynamite, because I know Don Callis is going to have a lot to say. I have something important to say. And as far as how does it happen, I think we get the usual face-to-face. Callis throws a conversation. Kyle Fletcher is Mr. Cooldown Mediator. Okada's the instigator. Bitch. Screwdriver. Bye. See ya.
I like pretty much exactly how you wrote that. And I do think it would be the following Dynamite because no seconds are allowed. So we've got to, if we do it at Revolution, the match has to end. And then we've got to trot the 27 members of the Don Callis family down to ringside to do it.
27 members.
Whereas if we just wait till Dynamite, we can do it there. You know, this pay-per-view is already going to go 17 and a half hours. Dude, between a 2 out of 3 falls match, a no time limit match, and a Texas death match, that's easily 2 hours right there.
Hey, we've seen falls go back to back in 2 out of 3 falls in quick fashion. I'm just saying.
but there also will be that delay until the third fall.
Well, yeah, you gotta get to that. All
I'd
right.
be willing to bet you that those 3 matches are going to easily be 90 minutes to 2 hours long just for those 3 matches.
You know what? I'm gonna personally stop watch time each one and give you the time for those 3 matches in total. That being said, Charles, go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I do say the Dynamite after is the way to do it. And while Takeshita seems the obvious one, I'll just be a little bit more general and I'll say whichever one loses this match will be the one to be ousted.
Bold take.
Because Mox was on a bit of a losing streak there for a while, and you got to figure that the Death Riders, while united in their goal, got to be tired of having their leader, their vision, their driving force, whatever you want to call Mox, always losing.
Well, at least it's not getting revamped 4 times and everyone's getting injured. Sorry, did I say that out loud? That being said, though, to also your point, Jon Moxley has not lost a singles match since winning the Continental Classic.
It's fair.
Just saying.
There's
Right.
always a time to pull that trigger.
True that, and we'll see if Konosuke can finally pull that trigger or Power Drive need to success. Charles or Nick, either one of you want to say anything regarding this super chat?
I'm just waiting for both of them to get kicked out of their factions.
Most definitive faction members of factions in AEW since I can remember. All right.
Yeah, literally.
That's why I said it. All right. Well, thank you for that, our Canadian friend, Ash. Again, subscribe to the Batty for Wrestling. Stay batty like her, and not just for women in wrestling or New Japan Pro Wrestling, for all things wrestling as we accomplish here at the Super Reliable Studios, your one-stop spot for professional wrestling coverage, reliable and honest all the time. And thank you again, Ash, and we'll see you for the shenanigans. Stay tuned, by the way, folks, when she does her Batty Bracket breakdown on the other side of the NJPW Cup at the very end towards the finals, seeing how bad her bracket got busted or how strong it actually was. I might join her for that too. We'll see. Okay. Well, that being said, now that we got that in, unless we get something else, American or Canadian, let's go ahead and get right into our main event, where it is truly Hangman's last stand. Red Dead Redemption, or literally put the man in a coffin. Because in this match, despite it being his special, Texas Death, if Hangman Page loses, he can never, ever challenge for the AEW World Championship in his career again. Like I said, these two men have shaped each other's careers into what became AEW for both of them since All In 2018. Last year at Revolution, Heyman and Page got the better of MJF in singles action with the help of the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels moves, the Angel's Wings. Of course, he retired him in Texas Death. How poetic. Of course, that led on to MJF versus Heyman and Page for the title. Heyman was champion, Forbidden Door, and Heyman won. Not to mention, in Texas Death last year at All In, Heyman freed the title from that briefcase against the Death Rider John Moxley, who was looking to make AEW more violent but more better. These two have faced each other going all the way back to 2019 for the Dynamite Diamond ring that MJF won. And again, last year MJF, so insecure, broke down and said, "Why is it you? Why is it you? Why are you the main character?" And neither man was even champion. Between the insecurities of Maxwell Jacob Freeman being the guy that the audience has so much encompassed in Heyman and Page versus him the entirety of their career, hate, love, relationship, you tell me, versus what Heyman and Page believes AEW truly is, still doesn't really know, but knows that he should be the champion still and will be at any means champion. Now we're in Heyman and Page's world. He's only lost one Texas Death match his entire AEW career. This is his 6-1. MJF has never been in this. The definition of fight forever finally can culminate here Sunday night, and JJ might see Heyman's last chance live. Blood will be shed, but a decision has to be rendered. So that being said, let's go ahead. Based on everything we talk about tonight, what's the future of the AEW Men's World Championship? And more importantly, the futures of both Heyman and Page and MJF. Yeah, I'm going to start with you. We're going around the horn this time clockwise. What you got to say regarding this? This is your first Texas Death Match you're going to witness. And it literally is a person you've had a very much, I add, love-hate relationship with, and everyone's favorite scumbag who's trying to show definitively the quality of this championship, not quantity. Go ahead.
First things first. I don't think it should be a Texas Death Match. Save Texas Death for in Texas. We want to be nitpicky. Why don't we call it a Los Angeles Riot match?
Los Angeles Riot.
Could still be the exact same fucking match. But we're in LA. We're known for riots.
And true, amongst other things.
I mean, shit. Lakers fans riot when they win championships, when they lose championships.
Boy, you all are more fickle than wrestling
They still
fans.
riot.
And to be fair, two of them have been actually in Texas.
Exactly. So, that said, this is the one match that I'm the most torn on.
Why?
Okay. Because on the one hand, I feel like MJF hasn't had the belt that long. He got it at World's End. He's only had it for about 3 months.
Yep.
And I love what he's doing with it and defending it on independent matches, shows. I don't want to see that end. On the other hand, if Hangman loses, he can never challenge for the title again.
Correct.
We saw how well that ended up with Cody Rhodes. So if he loses and can never challenge for the belt again, having seen how well that went with Cody Rhodes, what's their backup plan to get Hangman back to the title picture? And at that point, why even have the stipulation in the match? Does he Black Scorpion it and challenge for the title under a mask? And once he wins, reveal that it was him all along? Does he use it in a contract negotiation technique? And when his contract is up for renewal, tell Tony, I'll only resign if I get another shot at the title. Because if we stick to this, he can never enter a Casino Gauntlet match. He can't be in the Owen. He can't be in any of these matches where the stipulation is you get a shot at the title. Because if he wins, he doesn't get a shot at the title. So what's the point of him even being in there?
There is no point.
You know, and if he enters these tournaments, these battle royals, is that the loophole? And if that's the loophole, why the fuck do we have the stipulation in the first goddamn place?
Well, to your point, are you saying that Heyman is not going to be a man of his word? Do you really think that he will turn his back on this?
I think when he becomes heel.
We've been for that.
And we'll go through it again. You know, there's going to come a time, okay? Again, we're talking out our asses here. We're doing a little bit of fantasy booking. Swerve Strickland just went heel. Swerve has been embedded in a feud with Hangman that's lasted these last couple of years. So if Swerve gets his hands on the gold at some point, somebody's got to take the title off him. And when Swerve is wearing through everybody and no one can reclaim the title, kind of like how Mox seemed to be holding it hostage, do they send Hangman to do it? This is your one shot. We need to get the belt off of him. If you don't get it, I feel like there has to be some kind of contingency plan to put him back in the title picture if he loses. Because to the point I keep coming back to, this worked so horribly with Cody Rhodes. So I've got Max winning. Just because I don't want to see what he's doing end, but I don't think that the stipulation of the title makes sense, because something in my gut tells me they're going to renege on it at some point. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. It may be 2-3 years down the road. But at some point they're going to renege on this, because they're going to have to. Because they're going to see how fucking stupid it was in the first goddamn place.
Okay. That being said, you got Maxwell Jacob Freeman surviving, because this is Texas Death, by the way, and the only way to win is via surrender or literal knockout. You got Maxwell Jacob Freeman retained.
Yep.
Okay, that sets the ballot. That being said, let's go to the chat real quick and see what our two VIPs. Of course, our Canadian friend Ash has been a very valuable communicator and opinionator here. Also joined the league, by the way. Good luck. She said, similar to the tag match, I don't want to see either with the AEW World Championship. I have MJF retaining through some form of shenanigans. It's Texas Death, Ash. Shenanigans would be the safer word versus what the fuck these two men might do to each other. Having him rebuild and finding himself within the mid-card. I've been waiting for him and Phase for Suzuka Okada. I'm just saying. Buckshot Lariat versus Rainmaker, it writes itself. Who has the stronger Lariat? One of my favorite fundamental moves. That being said, again, JJ, I'm going to go back to this trope. Nothing's impossible. You can still get an STD while having sex wearing a condom. Okay, that being said, he's got MJF. And it looks like Ash is also going to go with MJF. And no, Ash, he has lost one Texas Death match. So he is 5-1, or excuse me, 4-1. This will be his sixth. Let's go around the horn and see what the rest of the panelists think. We're going to go crisscross this time once again. Charles, it's on you. What's your thoughts on the AEW World Championship? I mean, again, it's a bold stipulation to keep yourself. The number one reason anyone gets in this business, I would think, is to be the champion of the company that they want to support. Brands basically, damn, you're in a company, you want the World Championship, even if you already had it. MJF literally is shooting his last bullet. If it doesn't hit, he's out, as far as we know, kayfabe wise. He's out. So again, with this stipulation in mind, is it a red herring? Is it a foregone conclusion? Do you want to see MJF's second run continue, considering this dynamic of pushing, showcasing, mentioning, confronting the young, rising, hungry, upcoming talent in and out of AEW independent scene, for that matter?
The moment this stipulation was announced, the first thing that came to mind going, well, this is about to be very, wow, TK, you're repeating history with Cody, because that guy failed horribly then. I don't know why you want to try it now. It's dumb. I can't see MJF losing the title, because he's going to lose the title all in to Will Ospreay. But the problem is, you can't have Hangman Page out of the world title scene. Because whoever beats MJF, who do you need challengers for? I hope TK has a plan for this. Because he gotta learn from his mistake. Because if it just goes down the same road as the Cody situation, at that point, what the hell is going on with TK? Is he freaking insane?
It sounds like you're fickle in your own judgment. I'm just going to say this. It really looks like he's trying to refresh his roster. And Heyman and Page, he's been there. Maybe we don't necessarily need him back there again. Maybe Heyman is willingly doing this to allow someone else to step up. Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher, Bandito. I'm just talking about names we've seen so far that MJF has mentioned and has also come in the ring with. I'm just saying, this roster has a whole lot more youth, dynamic for the World Championship picture. I do see your hand, JJ.
I think JJ's probably going to say the same thing I'm going to say. in response to
Go.
that.
No. I just wanted to go back to you saying, is Tony Khan crazy or Tony Khan a madman?
Out of control. Freaking hell.
I see what you did there. I saw that up perfectly.
That's my Tony Khan face, apparently. When I just like, I got it. Anyway, I'm not Craig Ferguson, by the way. I'm not talking like these. Anyway, go ahead, Charles. Continue your point. Although Celebrity Name Game was a very fun game show. Continue.
But as far as the way I expect MJF to win, but I'm more worried. I'm more curious about what TK have planned.
No, that's part of the fun.
Yeah, and also to be fair too, I'll say this: we're probably expecting somebody, Swerve, to challenge the winner of this at Dynasty anyway.
I mean, Revolution might literally set up the next challenger. Again, we don't know. That's the beauty of this. It's the launching pad of AEW's calendar, despite the fact they've had special dynamites like pay-per-views. To your point.
Well, Dynasty has been always Swerve's event when he challenges for the world title, so that's probably not going to change here.
That's true as well.
That's why I expect Swerve to show afterwards, or maybe, crazy enough, Swerve's the reason why Heyman loses the match. Take out all the competition, take out all the challengers out of the way.
Fair point. We did see that face-off with Heyman, Omega, and Swerve during that tournament. And at first, those two were literally talking about whether it's my friend or whether it's my enemy. I'll go for anybody to get that championship. Now focus on being the most dangerous man in AEW again. All bets are off on site. So
taking out all the challengers.
That being said, you do have MJF retaining.
Yeah, I do.
All right, fair enough. Well, you already heard my case on multiple facets. I also think MJF is also going to retain because this title run is definitely something different that widens the dynamic of the importance of the AEW World Championship, but also the scope of AEW and this wrestling business. It's just one of those things right now where I do feel like we're drawing a foreseen conclusion to AEW All In, but I also think we could be surprised there because I don't think AEW is that streamlined to give you necessarily that outcome and necessarily not make sense of what's further to come. It's not like they're going to finish the story and lie to you and do it 1 year later with overbooking that does work to a degree, and then 2 years later, he's booed out of the building. But it's just one of those things right now, looking at this dynamic, I just don't see MJF losing this championship. Not 2 months and not 6 defenses, to JJ's point, 2 on the independents, 6 defenses in less than 2 months against young, bright, youthful talent. Kevin Knight included in that conversation. So, yeah, I got MJF retaining. My only question is, the last time we saw MJF in a barbaric battle, it only had tables and tacks. What the fuck's he going to do here against Heyman and Page to literally overcome his greatest foe and his greatest foil? Like I said, these two have shaped each other since the existence of AEW, when that title was first shown by Bret the Hitman Hart, and Heyman was the one in the conversation, not MJF. You could argue whether or not one person had a stronger career so far or is a stronger, more favored individual in AEW all night long. But this right here is the definition of AEW, in my opinion. Heyman, Page, and MJF. And something's got to give here. And I think MJF overcomes him once for all. All right, Nick, you finished this thing out for the night. What you got to say regarding this Texas Death and the AEW World Championship? Go ahead, sir. 3, 2, 1. He might have knocked out. All right. Well, that being said, I guess we'll just leave it at that because I think this has gone on long enough, and wouldn't surprise me if he literally GTS. So again, folks, that's AEW Revolution. So again, what are your opinions? What are your predictions? What are your surprise outcomes, returns, betrayals? Do you see someone debuting, honestly? Do you see us getting a contract signing? Yep, he's gone. Let us know your thoughts. Or the device is literally blowing up as we speak. Because again, Canadian technology, I don't know if it's as good as American technology or even worse. Someone can tell me in the chat. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below as I look at some of the closing comments here. AEW, let's up and go. Can't wait. AEW always delivers with the matches. I might actually buy this one. The build has been great and the card is incredible. Great show. Roderick Strong might turn heel on OC and Darby. The catch got face turn might finally happen either on the pay-per-view or the follow-up episode of Dynamite. Looks like someone had some of our foreshadowing. Again, good luck to everybody. Again, your predictions are not final till 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, March 15th. Of course, that night they will be final. You'll see the predictions form in the comment section down below on all these streams once they conclude. Let's go around the horn and get some rest and bid y'all fine adieu. Again, pick your opportunity into another sleepy ditting. Again, I hope that y'all enjoy the conversation. I hope that you haven't taken a chance yet. You will take a chance on AEW because there's a lot of promise in this wrestling roster underneath this brand. And that's what you should follow more than anything else. JJ, have an incredible time live. I hope you survive. I hope you got a voice still. I hope that you stay hydrated and get home safely and are able to tell the tale come Monday morning. If not, post Sunday night, if you're still awake or I'm awake, I don't know. But go ahead and tell other people can find and connect with you.
Well, let's go ahead and bring up my new graphic here.
Bloody hell.
You can find me on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams, on YouTube at Casa D18 Studios, on X at Casa D18 Studio, no S on the end of it on X. Of course, you can always find and follow the Simply Reliable Studios at SR Studios 2024. Go back into the archives. Check out our interview with the Princess of Perfection, Rachel Lay. Check out our interview with the Poder Mania champion, Brittany Blake. Check out our interview with the Poder Mania ring announcer, Heather Lynn. Check out our interview from this past weekend with the Conduit of Karma, Kaya McKenna. Make sure you tune in this Saturday as we have Leva Bates, Blue Pants in the Black and Gold NXT, which was whose NXT?
My NXT!
And the Librarian on AEW. And you're also going to want to make sure you tune in this week because we will be announcing another interview that has been lined up.
Ooh, all right then. Again, JJ, staying busy as always and pushing forward the power of women in wrestling via Poder Mania. Again, folks, you can get your tickets still. Follow Ed San Antonio on the X. Go to the Everbright link on his X and get your tickets today for this all-women showcase, kicking off the entire, and I kid you not, the entire festivities of that entire summit of professional wrestling, damn it, during WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. Again, that's Poder Mania, this all-women showcase right here. There you see the many incredible talents that you will see on this all-women's card. This is going to literally rival Wrestle Queen for me for my show of the year, possibly. Again, get your tickets today, Poder Mania. Follow at Ed San Antonio on the X for further details today. Thank you for that, JJ.
And in addition to the announcement coming this Saturday, I have been, over the course of the afternoon, been reconnecting with an old friend of mine from in the business, maybe having an in-person interview with him when Walter and I are in Vegas. More to come on that once details are finalized. But that is not the announcement that'll be made this Saturday.
The further details, folks. It's out of control. All right, fair enough. Incredible work, JJ. Again, folks, Farming Wrestling JJ Williams. He does incredible stuff here alongside the collective who have been great partners and friends here, the Super Reliable Studios family. Again, they've been plugged on that, but we'll plug them again. Show them some love. Please follow them. Follow independent wrestling, support independent wrestling, support GCW, and stay tuned for further GCW League prediction forums and prediction leaderboards. There is also a double take form coming up for GCW, literally if you're East Coast. Later today, it will be due, though, Saturday night, because the double feature is on Saturday and Sunday. So
Yes.
Stay tuned for more on that.
First show Saturday begins 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, so it will be due 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific.
All right, very good. And again,
so you'll have a little over a day to fill it out. I apologize for the lateness of this one going out, but with having worked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, getting everything together just really kind of slipped my mind. So
That's okay. I only can remember so much, and no one can hold it against you. And again, you're doing incredible work. Don't overwork yourself. Like I said, God bless you.
and I do have 2 more images I will send you for that as soon as the stream is over. I just have to put the little logos on them, and then I'll shoot them over to you.
Sounds good. Charles, always a pleasure, whether you're here on time or whether you're here towards the end of the line. Thank you so much for your input. Good luck in this year's league. Again, make sure you both fill out the form, otherwise your predictions mean jack shit. Charles, where can the people find and connect with you?
Literally at Drew Talk Randall on X. And I also believe in Chase U.
That's right.
Never. Again,
Somebody
shout out
else
to.
does. Damn it.
No.
And I mean, again, I know it turns Noah's stomach, but just look at how good that came out.
10 out of 10, JJ. Literally what it is.
Just be thankful, Noah. Be thankful I didn't use the image of Okada in the Chase U sweatshirt. I almost threw that in there just to fuck with you even more.
Damn it.
I resisted because he was never a member that I ever saw. At least everybody in this picture was a member during my time watching.
You're lucky you didn't do that, because not only would I delete that graphic, I would boycott you as far as Cinema Studios goes and working with you. That being said, disparage Kuchiko Okada like that. Anyway, thank you, Charles. And again, thank you, JJ, always. Again, whether his phone blew up in his face or whether he's trying to get some sleep or whether he's cooking up some good stuff, stay tuned. I'm sure our Canadian friend, the expert of food, who is asking you what's on the menu, Nicholas Ferrantes. Again, follow him on the X. He does great work, of course, in collaboration with the studios. There he is. Let's see if the device actually works. I
pulled him out. I just brought him in so I could
Gotcha.
blow it up so you could see his app.
Yes, again, folks, follow him at Nick B. Leaf. That is BELEAF 12 on the X. Again, I expect him to also share his thoughts on the main event as well as so much more for AEW Revolution. Also on the X, if you want further thoughts on Nick, please follow him there for further. And if he doesn't join us for the conversation, but was probably tries to join watch along again. Our watch along starts 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live Sunday night, March 15th. We will be covering the 0 hour as well as the entire preview. We'll be with you for that entire Sunday night here at the Studios for AEW as we simul stream, of course, with GCW. So again, please stay tuned as we keep you up with all the wrestling, because we're bloody crazy. You want to find
and at least it's a Sunday night, so you don't have to worry about shenanigans being after and tabling it to brunch, because we'll get shenanigans on the normal Saturday night.
And of course, folks, the weekly moderate conversation of wrestling match that is the Saturday shenanigans, hosted by the regular wrestling JJ Williams, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, starting with the Leva Bates interview, Podomania Talent Focus, followed by the conversations that are to come and the match to ensue for 2 hours on May on the clock. So stay tuned for more on that. Again, folks.
Well, you enjoy Noah's sanity being gone.
I'm surprised I still have it. That being said, if y'all want to find me and follow me or be part of Predictions League, I am on the X and on YouTube and in Foster 1916. For I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! Again, I lead these predictions leagues for WWE, NXT, AEW, GCW, of course, in conjunction with the Wrestling Collective and Regular Wrestling JJ Williams, and of course, TNA. The next predictions to come, of course, be TNA Sacrifice, NXT Stand Delivered, WWE, of course, WrestleMania, God help me, and of course, AEW, Dynasty. And there's more GCW stuff always on the rise, so stay tuned for more on that. Again, I will be here Sunday. That's the next time you will see me on you all's screens. Other than that, as I always like to encourage and remind you, there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, no matter how much they annoy you, and just your life in professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that. Again, thank you, by the way, to our Canadian friend Ash, Emmanuel, and at Fully Is Dog for their participation in the conversation with PayPal and Super Chats. And speaking of our Canadian friend Ash, don't forget, again, to become baddie, follow, shout out at Ash on the X, subscribe today. Seriously, subscribe. At Barry for Wrestling on YouTube for further New Japan coverage, AEW outtakes, and of course, women's wrestling inquiries as well. And from one Ranger to another, always support all the friends and family members here at Samoa Studios. Shout out to our Pink Ranger Dattila. Follow her on its wrestling time at Rangers of Wrestling. There you see on the social medias right there, or Dattila _ on the X. Always a TNA faithful individual. He wasn't here, but he's also just as reliable. He probably would be on the call, so please follow if you haven't already. Rage of Wrestling, Walter Cruz, our MMA expert. Stay tuned for further MMA coverage, of course, led by him at Rage of Wrestling, of course, and Walter Alex Cruz on the X and Blue Sky if you still use that. And again, shout out to Emmanuel and the other half, Arlene. Literally our John Cena and Randy Orton. So follow the Dominguez on the social medias as you see right there, and subscribe today to Interactive Games and Movies, also on YouTube. And again, following the pay-per-view, stay tuned for the post-stat analysis with me and Papagino. Subscribe and follow Papagino today, one of the moderators for the Noti Key Review, and my fellow statistician in predictions, post-show analysis too. Follow him on YouTube today. But I think that's everybody and everything, and that's all that's left to say. So again, please like, subscribe. Comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell as video goes live on any of the channels here or any of the affiliates here at the Super Reliable Studios. Hit subscribe, and I assure you the content, the creativity, the madness, the conversation is not going to let up anytime soon. But with that being said, it is now Friday on the East Coast, and soon enough will be on the West Coast. So I'm going to bid you all now a fine adieu. For Nick, for Charles, for Ash, for Emmanuel, for all of you, for JJ, I'm the Cement Noah Foster, saying that I enjoy what professional wrestling brings. I'm ready to enjoy AEW, and I thank all of you for tuning in. Make a positive impact in life. Have a good night, and thank you for being part of this edition of Simply Predicting for AEW Revolution. Have a good night, folks, and we will see you all shortly here once again at the Simply Reliable Studios. Take care. Oh, boy. What a freaking pay-per-view this is going to be. A freaking 4-hour-long ride. Although Wrestle Kingdom 8 was 4 hours long, so honestly, that's not a bad thing. All right, hit the button.